Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with Andrew Velez and River Brown. This is now episode 175. In this episode, we are going to preview the second round matchups, talk about the Nets getting swept, the Sixers potentially blowing a 3-0 series lead, and more. A quick Patreon shout out to Icon No Cap Anthony, Caleb Baker, Travis Toomer, Drews the Goat, Holmes 206, Nairi Baylor, your boy Nick, Pimp Chimpin, Jake the Snake, Corrupt, G Boog, Kobe, Dylan, Afosa, Mason, Rico the One, Gentile Drew, Cade MVP, Mark SP4Z Shot, Jordan Watt, Evan, Dylan, Joel is the GOAT, Matthew Jimenez, Mayo, Andre, Matthew, Peter, Daniel, Ben, William, Ruthless Rootster, Sensei Stevie, Joel B, SA Crimes, Kevin S, Eagle Dollar, Tizzy, Corey, Get Funkoed, Dylan, Playboy, Orlando, Big Chuck, Michael, Greg, Cole, Liam, T Grove 17, Tua Sucks on Ka, Ryan, Epic Lankiness, Aaron, It's Black Ace, Anthony, BJ, PJs, Langston, Jazzy Juice, Johannes, Ruben, Muffins, Dave, John, Sean Triplet, Burner Hoops, Court Cousins, P. Dot, George, Hikari, Mateen, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua, man. Let's
and
go.
Danko Hawkins from YouTube members.
Shout out Danko.
Yeah.
Shout out Danko.
Yo, shout out Dylan. Shout out Hikari. Shout out Novel. Funny story about Novel actually. So yesterday we were on the voice chat in Discord.
Oh, Mr. Hollywood joined the Discord.
Facts, man. I was trying to get back in touch with the guys, and we were talking, me and Novel, and he was talking about his sister, and she's a nurse apparently. So I was like, yo, what's her name? Because you know how my Twitter name is First Responder Drew, because I'm going to be a nurse. So all I was trying to do was, throw First Responder in front of her name, like a respectful human being. He goes, why you want to know that, bro? I was like, bro, you think I'm trying to get with your sister? Like, what's going on with you right now? But that was funny. But shout out to them, man. We chopped it up for a minute.
Yeah, for sure. And today we actually have something special to show you guys. Before we do that, I actually want to shout out a user in our Patreon who just recently joined.
Oh, give him the whole round of applause.
His name on Twitter is Anthony Icon. He has an Anthony Edwards profile picture.
Okay.
Anthony Icon sounds fire.
He's
Anthony
always
Icon, that is hard.
He's always active under my tweets, so I got to give him that shout out.
Real.
And
There
I
we go.
appreciate everybody that's active on the Pick a Side Twitter, our Twitters, whatever Twitter.
They've
Thank you guys
crazy.
for being active.
There we go. I told you. I told you your time was coming. I told you your time was coming.
Yeah, my shit been rising.
I told y'all, like, once on Twitter, once you get that initial momentum, you
OD.
start to get
all
those
my
followers.
tweets 10 likes up, and it just be growing. I'll be at a K soon. Just
There you
waiting
on
on
it. That's it.
You have 500 right now, so you might about to be on it.
500 and what, like 2, 3?
520, maybe something.
I'm saying months. 2-3 months.
Oh,
yeah.
I like something like
You're gonna
that.
be there in
firm.
2 months. I believe it.
Yeah.
In 2 months.
Definitely by the summer.
Definitely.
So before we get on to the actual show, for those of you that listen to the pod, you know that last week it was Riv's birthday, and Serge and Dom were nice enough to send this package to Riv. They told us it's a jersey.
Oh, really?
And Riv,
Yeah.
let's see. Open it up right now. Let's see what you got. Let's see what your present is.
Do you have any guesses?
Yeah. Jesus, I already know what it is, bro.
Yo, if it's what I think it is, they're clouds.
Oh my goodness.
Yo, imagine spending money on this.
This is embarrassing.
Yo, nah, turn around. There you go.
It's a Bruce Brown jersey.
Nah, that is
You know, I told them I was going to throw it in the garbage, but because they're loyal fans, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to definitely.
Are you
gonna
gonna
wear
wear
it?
it for the show?
I'll throw it on.
real.
Bruce Brown. He was actually the best player on the Nets, though.
No, by far and away.
Yeah, this series, hell yeah.
By far
He's
and away.
undoubtedly.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
still horrible.
Would you want him on the Bulls?
Fuck no. Nah, I couldn't watch him. Nah.
Nah, if he was on the Bulls, I'm sure you would not be mad.
We're gonna rock him for the night.
Yo, it
though.
looks tough. I'm gonna be
Yeah, it looks
honest.
nice, yeah.
It looks
We're gonna
good.
rock the Bruce Brown for the night. Maybe
There we go.
Maybe I could spew out some great takes with this Bruce Brown.
Maybe he'll
This
come
is
through you.
embarrassing. Oh my god.
It looks good.
It's clean.
At least it facts.
Yeah. Shout out to Dom and Serge. I knew
For
I knew they were gonna do it. They said they were gonna do it. I didn't believe them, and then they did it. I'm like,
Yo, when's our package coming in?
I don't know. Nobody gives us jerseys.
No. I mean like the other package.
Pause.
What package?
What's going on,
bro? All right, I guess we're gonna talk about it later.
Yeah, okay, yeah. NBA stores delivery suck.
They're
man.
playing, man,
bro. And you know what's the thing? I ordered something off of the NBA store, and I'm actually curious to know if any of you guys have a similar experience. I ordered a jersey off the NBA store because I know that they have shipping delays. I intentionally said I checked off the option of 1-day shipping. 1-day shipping. Listen, I want my package tomorrow.
Right.
They send me a notification, despite me paying for 1-day shipping, that it's not going to come until May.
I hope you got your refund.
I actually didn't. I didn't get my
Amazon does that sometimes too. Like you do the 1 day and it'll come in like 4 or 5
Well, that's
days.
why you got to do Amazon Prime. Are you an Amazon Prime member?
Yes.
All right.
But sometimes I can't control what happens outside.
Of course.
I'm going to be honest. Whenever I order something off of Amazon, I know I'm getting it in 2 days.
I'm not gonna front. It's true. Yeah, that's why I'm shocked.
They did it one time. They violated. I was hurt.
Yeah, they slave their workers, bro. They get those packages on time.
UPS slaved the workers.
That's facts.
UPS is crazy. I remember I was
Amazon is worse, bro.
You think no?
I used to work.
UPS, they had you picking the 100-pound boxes up.
The same thing in Amazon.
The fact that people pay for Prime, they have a duty to make sure those packages get there.
Makes sense.
UPS. I used to work at UPS. I was a package handler, so I unloaded the packages on the truck. People would come from Amazon to UPS like Amazon is horrible, and you would get paid more. Like I think Amazon workers, they made like $16, $18.
Yeah.
At least when I was working,
they just bumped up right at 18.
Yeah, when I was at UPS, I was getting paid like 10 or 12, I think, and Amazon was 16, and people will come back and say like it's not even worth it.
That's
like
crazy.
That extra.
When I was at UPS, I was working there. I went there for like a day. I ate McDonald's before I went there. I'm thinking this shit about to be light. I go in there.
Threw up?
Nah, I didn't throw up. I was sweating death. And the dude, he pulled up with the car. You know the cars they have. He's like, "Yo, you sweating up there, young blood?" And I was like, "Come on, man.
You ain't gotta do me like this."
He jumped up there like, "Yeah, you slacking. You ain't ready." I'm just like, bro, these shits is mad heavy.
Yeah, they are.
It's funny because you say that like an old head. Like they come over and say like, "You slacking, man. You ain't ready." Like I don't want to ever be ready.
Yeah, like
for
you see slavery, bro. He talking about something. Yo, I'm clocking 12 hours. I'm like, you crazy. I quit like after 1 day. I couldn't do that.
I managed to have that job for a while. I think for like almost a year.
You better than me.
But I didn't work full time. I worked part time. So
me too.
I didn't work too much. But my job was fun because I worked with people who I was friends with, and we laughed all the time and talked about basketball.
That's lit.
Yeah, so I feel like when you have jobs like that, like jobs that you know are kind of temporary jobs and it's really hard work, it makes it better when you have people who you're really cool with.
That's how it was at Amazon, but I got fired.
Yeah,
we was playing too much. We was playing way too much.
You got fired at Amazon?
Yeah, we was playing way too much.
Same thing, like delivery.
Nah, yeah, we was doing loading one day when I got fired, and it was this dude like he had the red jacket, and me and him had a little bit of beef. He was the boss, so me and my mans we was talking in the alleyway for like an hour. We didn't realize what time was just going past. He called us. He's like, "Yo, what y'all doing?" And he had the Jamaican accent, so he's just talking to us, and I'm like, the way you staring at me, I'm staring at him like that. And I just walked away. Like, I just walked away from him. And he just looked at my mans, and my mans was just like, I don't know. And he was just like, nah, he's done. And I just walked away, went back to my truck. And then they came back like, yo, I heard you disrespected the boss. I was like, nah, when he stopped talking, I walked away. But he took that as disrespect, so he fired me.
Have you ever got fired from a job?
No.
I've never gotten fired from a job, but I've quit plenty of jobs.
I've quit a few.
I got fired when we was at what's the name?
Oh yeah, when we were security.
I was working Sky Zone. I quit. I didn't give 2 weeks notice.
I never do that.
No. I was working at D Pasquale. I didn't get fired. I didn't quit. It was like a mutual schedules conflicted, so I just couldn't work there anymore. But
I left Target on such a bad note. I used to work at Target and. I was over it, bro. I was working for a couple months. I was already over it. I knew I was done. They had me scheduled for the week. And I just didn't show up for any of my shifts. And Target, the way they pay you is that they pay you every 2 weeks. And I didn't have direct deposit, so the money didn't come in directly. I had to go pick up the check physically. So I had not come into work for 2 weeks. And then when the day came for me to pick up the check, which is on a Friday, I went in. And then they're like, the fact that you're here, you have some nerve.
No,
and then she was like, you didn't show up for any of your shifts, and I'm like, oh yeah, sorry about that. and then I'm just like, yeah, I'm here to pick up my check, and she's like, just make sure you don't do this to your future employer. Just give my check, and I just left, and I just
I do that
job
so much.
suck or
it wasn't horrible, but I get, when I don't like doing something, I get tired of it very quickly, and I don't have enough tolerance to do things the right way. So I kind of leave every job I've been at, outside of maybe like one or two, I've left on bad terms.
like I said,
I just don't show up no more, bro.
Yeah. I don't tell you
show up.
I'm quitting. I don't tell you 2 weeks. I'm just not coming anymore.
And I do that because, employers, they aren't obligated to give you a 2 weeks notice if they're about to fire you. They just fire you.
Yeah.
So if I'm done with this job, why do I have to give you a 2 weeks
Oh no,
notice?
I'm with you.
And then when you try
I'm
to
with
call me, I blocked everybody's number.
Especially when it's like some rinky-dink regular ass job.
Yeah.
No discredit to Target. If you guys work at Target, shout out to y'all.
What a wuss.
No, you still gotta respect them because some people are really putting
Everybody
their time,
got their story, got their struggle.
Gunna said it best.
It's easy for Gunna to say
a 9 to
that.
5. That's cool.
But
making money's cool.
9 to 5 is cool, but don't you think that people who work at these like fast food places or these jobs, like they kind of know that this is not where I want to stop at?
No, definitely.
Like I want to advance.
Definitely.
At least I hope most people do.
But my whole point being, I don't really care. Like, this isn't the end all be all for me.
Yeah.
So that's really what I was gonna say.
I definitely, for anybody listening, I definitely don't judge anybody for working.
No,
at those
of course
places.
not.
Because I've worked at KFC, I've worked at Target, I've worked at UPS.
I was gonna say
I've
worked at Sky Zone.
I've worked everything.
I worked at Sky Zone for like 3-4 years. It's a trampoline place.
Yeah.
I applaud you because I ain't working in no fast food ever in my life.
No, that's crazy. I respect that.
I worked at KFC before.
How was that?
I was eating grilled chicken in the freezer. They used to have them on. I used to like, yo, this grilled chicken go crazy.
So KFC was good eats?
Yeah, I only worked it for like a week though.
Oh, why? We're so off to it's like 20 minutes of just bullshit.
I only worked there for a week because I just the manager I didn't like her. Like she was very bossy. I just wasn't with it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. It just was. I didn't want to work there. Like I was over it. So I worked there for a week and then I just didn't show up. I was like, I'm done with this. Yeah.
Hey, listen, not the worst thing, right?
The thing about
probably saved you from eating KFC like every single day.
And it's funny, ironically, I was very skinny at the time too. Yeah, I was very skinny at that time.
And you were eating grilled chicken.
That should have put you in shambles if you went there every day. Oh my God,
bro, your cholesterol would be toast.
Thing about that though is that with the jobs that I just walked up and left for the most part, like you have to be smart about it too. Like if you know that you're not gonna or you don't intend to cross this path again, then it's okay. But like if you're actually like in a profession that you want to do, like let's say you're an accountant and you have an accountant job at like, I don't know, H&R Block or whatever, you probably should put your 2 weeks notice in for that.
For sure.
But if it's like a regular job like that, like a fast food place, like I would just walk out.
Because it's one of those that if you put it on a resume, like, can we contact your employer?
I tell them no.
Don't should say yes.
No. Don't
because they're never going to call. They're never going to call. Always say yes.
I feel like post-pandemic has made a lot of people realize their own self-worth when it comes to these type of jobs.
Definitely.
Facts.
Because you look at a lot of these places, they're not able to fill up their staff because they underpay these workers and because the work that you get for the amount that you pay, it just doesn't correlate.
That's facts.
So post-pandemic, people are realizing that, if you don't at least up to what we're getting, we're not going to work in this type of job. So that's why you see a lot of these jobs like Wendy's, Taco Bell, like they've raised their pay. A lot of these fast food chains have raised their pay because they know that in order for people to work at those places in this economy, you got to do it. Like nobody wants to work after the pandemic. It's kind of people have opened up their eyes to like, I can do more with my time.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a lot of people working from home now since the pandemic's hit, which is
exactly
the ultimate finesse.
Exactly. Yeah. We got very off topic. Let's start the show. Riv with his Bruce Brown jersey. We're recording very late today.
Super late, man. I'll tell you what, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very sharp for some reason.
Amazing, but I am stuttering.
I was super sleepy right before we started the podcast, and the podcast starts, and you kind of just get like a rush of adrenaline.
When I walk in, the energy just you feed off Riv.
Yeah, you think so? Because you came in, and I was like, damn. This guy, thank God. Thank God.
I walked in, it's time. It's like when like a promo hits in WWE and The Rock finally shows up.
The music hits.
Music hits, everybody get lit. It's time.
That was a cool analogy. All right, let's go.
You have the Brooklyn jersey on, and this is our first topic of the show. The Nets got swept by the Boston Celtics, and a lot of things went wrong throughout their season. We're going to talk about it. We're going to recap it. We're going to talk about also what are they going to do moving forward. We have this Ben Simmons dilemma. We have Kyrie Irving. He has to get an extension now. They have some key free agents. So, I mean, first of all, where did things go wrong for the Brooklyn Nets, and how do you move things forward in the right direction? I'll start with you, Riv.
So, for me, I picked Brooklyn in 6. And I was wrong, but I didn't have any. I didn't have any, any feelings towards either team in the series. I kind of went in neutral. Didn't care who win.
Yeah, you thought you were being smart. Made a casual move.
Boston had a simple game plan. It was so simple. Like this defensive scheme was pretty simple. We're just gonna force Kevin Durant to help side. We're gonna make Kevin Durant become a passer. We're gonna make Kyrie become a passer. And after game 1, you saw Kyrie explode for 30 points, and it looked amazing. But Kevin Durant didn't show up. Game 2, they blew it. The Nets could have won that game. And then game 3 and game 4, Boston just put their stamp on it. Kevin Durant, towards the end of the season, we thought was elevating as a playmaker. He had a lot of double-digit games. He was making the right reads. All he had to do in the series was make the right reads, but I think a lot of that was he didn't trust his teammates. Another thing was he kept thinking he had to be that guy. He was forcing a lot of shots. Credit to Jayson Tatum for his one-on-one defense, but also credit to Boston and Udoka for their defensive game plan on just throwing 50 bodies at Kevin Durant and just getting physical with him. I love that the refs let them get physical. I love that the refs let them play that playoff basketball that we love to see. And Boston defensively just honed in. They just were amazing on the defensive end. Shout out to Boston. For the Nets, I just feel like a lot of 3-and-D guys need to come into the program. I think Nash throwing out a lineup with Dragic, Kyrie, and Seth was horrible. 3 non-defenders. Well, Kyrie's a good defender, but he's on an island essentially against Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. That's not a good matchup. So I think a lot of that needs to play into the fact. I think another big with help. Drummond was ass. Let's just be honest. Claxton,
he was serviceable, but he missed a lot of key free throws.
Yeah, he one game he's just hitting the ball up in the air, doing a lot of weird stuff. Claxton, he's just Claxton. It's just so tough to like Claxton.
He was good this series. He just didn't hit free throws.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
But free throws is such a crucial part for a big man because they're gonna foul you. But Claxton's still young. He still has. I feel like he has to bulk up. But yeah, for me, the Nets need to get a new coach. Definitely, but at the same time, Kevin Durant and Kyrie said they didn't want to be coached. They said this is how
there was no head coach, bro.
They said this is how
could have been the head coach. Kyrie could have been the head coach.
This is how they wanted to play. But I think now that they realize that experience is over, they got humbled. They definitely need to go in. Ben Simmons needs to play. They need to get a lot of 3-and-D guys who can defend and hit the 3 ball, just space the floor. Joe Harris will be back next year. I feel like Seth Curry should stay. He still is that type of guy.
He has a year left.
No, I mean they might don't trade him like that. Seth Curry should stay, and they should definitely go out. Bruce Brown, he's horrible. I think he's dumb trash, but he played.
Don't cap.
He was one. No, like
it's when I
say he's horrible, it's like I just hate to watch him play. But he was literally no cap, like the most consistent player in the series. I think they should definitely bring him back. For the Nets, of course, they should bring him back, but definitely just get some 3-and-D defenders. But this was I feel like this was just a humbling moment for Kevin Durant and Kyrie, and they're not in as bad of a situation as people think. They still have those 2 guys. Kyrie's probably going to come back. They have Ben Simmons coming back.
Would you bring Kyrie back?
You have to. I think why would you let him go? I think Kyrie did have a point in his post game. They didn't play a lot together. And that you can't just, as talented as these teams are, you can't just not play all year, then go into the playoffs and think it's going to click like that. It just doesn't work like that. Even the greatest of teams need that chemistry. So I think he should come back. I think it doesn't. The market won't even allow him to go anywhere else because it just doesn't make sense. I don't think Detroit, with their new culture building, he's going to go there. San Antonio, with their culture, I don't think Kyrie's going to go there. Houston, I doubt it. So I think he should just go back, and I think they should just.
What makes you think these low-key teams are the ones that are going to want Kyrie?
Well, they're the only teams with cap.
Okay.
There isn't this year. There isn't many teams with cap. It's like 4 or 5 bad teams with cap.
You don't think teams will figure it out to make Kyrie?
For Kyrie, based off what he's done this year, no.
Okay.
I think the only spot is Brooklyn, but I don't think Brooklyn's in a terrible situation. They still have a lot of moves they can make, but they're not in a bad situation.
All right. So where did things go wrong for the Brooklyn Nets? It actually starts when Kevin Durant goes down because a lot of events transpired after that. You had James Harden playing by himself because Kyrie couldn't play because of the vaccine mandate, and Harden realized the supporting cast around him was not ideal, not fit to really compete at a high level. So Harden becomes disgruntled. Now Harden wants a trade, and suddenly Harden's now off the Nets and now on to the 76ers. And now you get Ben Simmons, you get Seth Curry. Kevin Durant comes back into the lineup. Now the vaccine mandates were put away, and Kyrie Irving's ready to play. But by then it was too late because these guys weren't able to gel. And you had, before the Kevin Durant injury, the Nets being a top 2 team in the East. Were they number 1 before KD goes down? And then KD goes down, and really just every piece just started to fall with that. And Kevin Durant coming back, he still wasn't able to get the team fully back to what they were. They were playing very inconsistent basketball, where some nights him and Kyrie were out of their minds, playing ridiculously great. And then some nights they just looked like shell of themselves. Defensively were nowhere near where it needed to be to really compete at a high level. And then we get down the stretch into playoff time, and against the Cavaliers, where we see KD and Kyrie really dominate the game, they start to slack off, and we start to see their defense really become a liability against an offense that really was Darius Garland based, and outside of him, they had nothing else going. So that was a red flag for me. Defensively, they had always had red flags for me. Offensively, I shouldn't have been thinking about KD or Kyrie's scoring talents or abilities at all, because that was supposed to be a lock. Now here we go. We come into the series against the Celtics, and you can't get KD and Kyrie on the same page on the same night. Game 1, Kyrie Irving was out of his mind, was probably the best performance by a Nets player in the series. I'll give KD his flowers for what he did in Game 4, but down the stretch kind of ruined it for me. And then Game 2, both KD and Kyrie are irrelevant. Game 3, KD and Kyrie are irrelevant. Game 4, KD was great for a majority of the game, but we see Tatum
smoked them free throws.
He fouls out. You would think that here are the Nets with a strong opportunity to at least take one, can't close the game, and somehow without Jayson Tatum, the Boston Celtics win. Of 4 games, there was a point differential of 17 points, which is telling me that every single game, the Nets had an opportunity to win.
Yep.
And they folded. When you have KD and Kyrie, right? Kyrie was on record saying, I finally got someone I can look at and say, yeah, he can make the shot too. Right? He said that. And you weren't able to close the series out. Forget about the series. You weren't able to close out games, especially when Tatum wasn't even on the floor for one of those. A lot of it stems from that moment with Kevin Durant going down, because then we started to really see the Nets for who they were, because Kevin Durant wasn't able to mask all the imperfections of the squad. And clearly there was a lot of imperfections on this team. But credit to what the Celtics had done. I was very consistent. I've been consistent since the All-Star break. Credit to Riv, but unfortunately, he has now passed the torch of the Boston Celtics over to me, since he incorrectly chose the Brooklyn Nets to win this series, unfortunately. But the Celtics played excellent defense. Offensively, I wouldn't even say they played great offensively. Where Tatum had his struggles, defensively, he was absolutely unbelievable. The performance that he put on Kevin Durant defensively, Grant Williams, the performance that he put on Kevin Durant was excellent. Al Horford has to get his credit. He played great the entire series. Jaylen Brown down the stretch of that game, when Jayson Tatum goes out, Jaylen Brown steps up huge. It was a great team effort by the Boston Celtics, and it's going to be very exciting to see them in the next series versus Milwaukee.
The Celtics are for real. They're legit. They're
No
a
doubt.
contender. We'll talk about them more later on in the show. Everybody is branding the Nets as this colossal failure because they did sign KD and Kyrie. I disagree. And the reason why I disagree is because
Come on, how can you defend that?
this is why. The expectation for KD and Kyrie is to win a championship. That's the expectation. But it's a bit different than a situation like the Clippers when they got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Because the Clippers, when they had PG and Kawhi that first year, they were healthy. They blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets. It was supposed to be Lakers versus Clippers in the conference finals. Lakers lived up to that bargain. The Clippers did not. They blew the 3-1 lead. When I look at the Nets, yes, in the history books, it will be looked at as a colossal failure. But when you look at the events that have transpired, first year, you unite James Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant. Kyrie is injured for the majority of the season. KD's in and out. Harden is the most consistent player, but then he goes down later in the season with a hamstring injury. In the first round, they all play. they wax Boston. They look unbeatable. Versus Milwaukee, James Harden now can't play. Kyrie Irving and KD are running it up on Milwaukee. Now Kyrie gets injured. Now James Harden comes back on a grade 2 hamstring, which we're looking at now might have potentially hindered his career. And they were injured. But we all know last year a healthy Nets were probably winning the championship. Because Harden and Kyrie were not healthy, they did not win. Despite their flaws defensively, despite their flaws roster construction-wise, last year they would have won had they been healthy. Then you look at this year. Kevin Durant plays at an MVP level to start. You can tell James Harden is still recovering from his hamstring injury. He hasn't been the same since. We still look at James Harden like, where is the Harden of old? Kyrie Irving, this vaccine mandate in New York, he wasn't able to play home games. I look at the Nets and I just look at a bunch of drama, injuries, drama, and things out of their control in terms of politics-wise. They were never able to fully mesh. Now, they do have some holes in the roster. I think the offseason by me and many was overrated. Paul Millsap proved to be an unproductive player. They brought back Blake Griffin, and he played solid minutes, but for some reason, Steve Nash didn't play him down the stretch. The offseason for the Nets was Patty Mills, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Paul Millsap, I believe, if I did not mention him. That was the offseason for the Nets. All these guys at this point in their careers, one, not a great fit next to KD and Kyrie or Harden if you're trying to build something. It felt like the Nets just threw out a bunch of names, a bunch of old names, and thought it would work when it was clear they needed more perimeter depth. They needed more shooters. They needed more spacing. And I don't think outside of Mills, they didn't bring that in free agency. Joe Harris's injury also hurt. That was their best shooter. For sure. He was shooting 46% from the three before he went down. So when I look at the Nets, I'm like, okay, they never had the opportunity to fully be healthy and mesh for a period of time. When we look at those 2019 Clippers, people were talking about that team like when Kawhi and PG and Pat Bev are like, when they're all healthy, they don't lose. And then they blow the lead to the Denver Nuggets 3-1. So that's why for the Nets, I feel like there is some leeway because there's just a bunch of stuff out of their control that happened. And injuries was a main part of that. Steve Nash, I'm not a fan of Steve Nash. He was dealt a bad hand, and I don't think, you have to be fair to Steve Nash as well. But looking at this series, Kevin Durant played the way Kevin Durant played when he was in OKC. He's just ISOing. You look at this series, it was a lot of KD and the Nets offense. You would see times where they wouldn't even pass it once. They would just shoot a shot with 20 seconds left on the shot clock. That's not winning basketball. They didn't pass in this series. Kevin Durant, the adjustment for him, people were criticizing him for not being overly aggressive. The adjustment for him was to be passive and to pass the ball and to be a playmaker. In Game 4, he did that. He had 9 assists, but he did it way too late. Sure. He didn't trust his teammates, and do you really trust him when the corner guy you're looking at is Bruce Brown? Not so much, but there were times when you would see KD dribble on the elbow. He'd see 2 defenders come at him. Goran Dragic's open at the corner, and KD settling for a jump shot. I trust Goran Dragic to hit that shot.
Or Seth.
Yeah, or Seth.
I don't know about that. Not this series, at least.
No, Seth was open.
I'm not saying this series.
But you still have to make the right basketball play.
I agree.
And Seth is a career.
He was a no-show this
Seth
series.
is a career 40%. Like, make the right basketball play. Think about it. I would rather a Seth open 3 than a contested midi. I'm not
disagreeing, but his opportunities.
Got to make the right play.
And then, we haven't talked about this enough, I think, in terms of everybody's so focused on Kevin Durant because the first guy is the fall guy.
Of course.
Game 1, Kyrie went insane. He was non-existent for all the other games.
Irrelevant.
Games 2 to 4, he averaged 15 points, shot 37% from the field, and 18% from 3. Kyrie Irving has had one great, phenomenal playoff series. the 2016 NBA Finals. And that shot has immortalized him as a clutch playoff performer, as this outstanding playoff performer,
Preach.
that series in general. But if you look at Kyrie Irving's body of work in the playoffs with the Celtics, with the Nets now,
Preach.
it doesn't look good. Kyrie Irving is an overrated playoff performer. He's an overrated clutch performer. And he's not a guy that moving forward, I think I can count on in the playoffs. He hasn't shown it since 2016. Wow. Whether it's been with inefficient play or whether it's been with injuries. You can't trust Kyrie. But like you said, the Nets have to bring him back because ultimately this is Kevin Durant's organization.
Yep.
The plan was KD and Kyrie.
My goodness.
That was supposed to be good enough to get you
I've
to
been
a championship.
saying what you just said for years. I'm glad you said it. I like that Nets Clippers analogy though. I think
the Clippers had the chance.
I think next year, I think it's a little bit of the same in a sense where the Clippers failed, right? They went and retooled. They went retooled. They got a new coach, got a bunch of new players, and then you seen them, get hurt, but they still make the WCF. I think this is the year Brooklyn fails. They go in off season, they retool, and they can definitely make a bounce back. They just have to retool properly. Same what the Clippers did. They realized they messed up. They got humbled, just like the Nets. They got humbled. Now you have to go retool and build the better roster. And I think Brooklyn's in a good position because although Kyrie is overrated, that's who Kevin Durant wants. And Ben Simmons is still, as much as we clown his offense, defensively, we can never disrespect him as a defender.
100%.
So you still got him. He's young. He's under contract. You just got it. Seth is under contract. So I think you still have enough where you can go and build a solid roster around Kevin Durant and Kyrie. You have a whole offseason to do it. So that was interesting. I actually like that analogy. Now they just have to retool. Next year would be the look year because, like you said, they've been hurt multiple times.
Early prediction, you think Steve Nash is gone?
He should be.
He's not gone. He's going to stay.
He should be gone.
I think he's probably gone.
I think he's staying. Kevin Durant has already vouched for him and support the Nets organization. There's been reports already that they're not going to make him the fall guy. So I think Steve Nash is staying. The thing about the Nets, though, is that paying Ben Simmons, KD, Kyrie, they don't have money to go out and spend on free agents.
They're in a bad spot.
And Kenny Smith made this analogy he made this point, and I thought it was a great one on Inside the NBA, that what veteran wants to go ring chase in Brooklyn when the veterans you acquired in Millsap and Griffin who were coming to ring chase got no minutes. They didn't play. So what veteran player who probably still has some left in the tank is looking at Brooklyn like, I want to play there? Because they're probably looking at it like, I just saw what they did with Blake and Paul Millsap. They didn't play. So why am I going to go there and take less money? The Nets are going to improve by one of two ways. They're going to either trade Seth or Joe Harris.
Oh, wow.
Or they are going to bank on players like Kessler Edwards, Cam Thomas, Day'Ron Sharp, rookies they drafted this past draft to develop. I think Kessler Edwards is the one that you look at like he's exactly what Brooklyn needs. He was a rookie this past season, so we couldn't play him much into the fire, but he's a solid defender. He's a solid shooter. He's the one that I look at that next year can be a pivotal part to what they do.
I think they just I agree with what you said. Also, they need to bank on Nick Batum type of guys. Remember when Nick Batum, before the Clippers, people were calling him cooked. Charlotte was horrible, situation like that. He goes to the Clippers, kind of makes his career good again. Same thing with Roku. You know what I'm saying? People were calling him horrible in Portland. He wasn't that good. He goes to the Clippers. Now all of a sudden you see the defense is there. The 3-point shot is back. So I think players like that who people kind of forgotten. The Nets definitely need to go and try to see if they can still bring life out of those guys. Blake Griffin, they did that last year. He had a little bit of life to him. Paul Millsap was cooked from the moment he started playing ball back over there. So I think with Blake Griffin, though, they kind of not 100% got that one, but it was like last year. You saw in the playoffs against Milwaukee, he was huge for them. Against Boston, he was good. So they got a little bit of life out of him. So I think if they do that again, but with smarter players, I think they'll be okay. They're not in a term. There'll be a playoff team next year, no doubt in my mind.
Definitely. As long as you have KD and Kyrie, you'll make the playoffs. At least should.
Something that everybody was looking forward to in this series was a potential Ben Simmons return. We know he didn't return. He got a lot of backlash for not returning. Reggie Miller called him out. People were calling him weak for not returning. Now, the Nets and Sixers made the trade. Ben Simmons for James Harden, essentially. The Nets did get Seth Curry, Drummond, and 2 first-round picks along with Ben Simmons, and the Sixers got Harden and Millsap. looking at this trade, did both of these teams lose it?
I'm going to be honest. The answer is I'm going to say that the Sixers lost it right now, but the Nets is a still wait and see because we haven't seen Ben. The only reason why it hurts is because you haven't seen Ben play at all, and you're going to give him $35 million. What hurts with James Harden is you're clearly not getting the player that you thought you were getting, and you have to pay him $45 million over however many years you decide to have him on your team. That's the reason why I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, yes, I think Philadelphia lost this trade, but I still think that the Nets have yet to really fully lose it until we see Ben Simmons play. I'm looking at it from this lens. The Sixers traded away Seth, Ben, for James Harden because James Harden is an amazing playmaker who was supposed to be a great shot creator, a consistent scorer for them, and was going to be able to benefit Embiid's game tremendously. Now, Embiid has continued to be a dog this season, MVP candidate, top 3 at the minimum, but James Harden has been the one that has been lacking because of his inconsistent aggression. He has not been aggressive completely since coming to Philadelphia. He came in the first 3 games, he was emphatic, he was unbelievable, and then we started to see him go back into his inconsistent ways, and we're seeing it here in this Toronto series. Now, for the Nets side, Ben Simmons still has a chance to right his wrongs so long as next season he come back, he plays, and is at least focused on basketball. Until he plays, you can't fully say that he lost it, but right now, as we stand, these two teams made this trade because they wanted to win a championship. Right now, the Nets just got swept, and the 76ers are struggling right now. When they were up 3-0, now it's a 3-2 series, going to Toronto for Game 6, as we stand right now. I'm not looking at it as anywhere near to a success unless you win this championship, because this move was made to win a championship, and if you do not win one, it was a failure.
I think they both lost. But like you said, I do think Brooklyn has a chance to fix that loss. Well, Ben Simmons specifically
For sure.
has a chance to fix that loss because he watched his team get swept. He watched his team desperately get cooked on defense. And I understand, mentally he might not be right. He might really have a back injury. But it's like it's starting to become annoying. This whole situation is just like, all right, whatever. I understand why he didn't play Game 4. It wouldn't make sense. He has to play ball in the year. Cool. That's cool. So Ben Simmons has a chance to rewrite that. With Philly, though, I agree. I think, and I picked Philly to win the series. I didn't think Miami would be a cakewalk. I think Miami and Philly would be a very tough series. But James Harden looks cooked, man. But I was reading a report earlier today about, and one of his trainers were talking, and he was like, James Harden he's still like injured. James Harden the hamstring is still bothering him. So they say this offseason he'll have a full offseason of fully recovering from the injury. But, as great as a playmaker he is, he's not living up to that number 2 guy. They're not even asking him to be a number 1 guy. Joel Embiid is that.
Easily.
They're asking him to just be an effective scorer. And his scoring just has taken a big dip, and it really sucks because, Harden was one of the best players in the league, and this could have really turned Philly into a championship contender, but nobody's taking Philly serious because, well, 1, nobody takes Doc Rivers serious, and 2, nobody's taking Harden's, scoring ability serious. And although Maxey has looked great, Tobias.
He started great.
We're
going to get into it, so let's not.
Yeah, he looked great. Tobias has been okay. You need Harden to be that 100% guy.
Agree.
Those two, Maxey's still young. Harris, we know what he is, but you need Harden to be that guy. So I think at the moment, like you said, this was a championship. This was a move to win the championship. So Philly, for me, I ain't gonna go all the way and say if they don't win the championship. They don't make it at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is definitely a failure for me, and I think he'll be back next year because it just doesn't make sense to go anywhere else.
Am I wrong by saying this move was made to win a championship?
No, you're not wrong, but I wouldn't say it's a complete failure if they don't win the championship.
At this point in time, with the way that Embiid has been playing, at the level that he's at right now, you're telling me that they don't want to maximize that, and that wasn't solidified by trading for James Harden?
No, I agree. I think, getting there, getting to the Eastern Conference Final, but I think just like a championship, we love to give teams championship contender titles, and we love to say it's championship or bust, but in reality, championship is hard to come by.
Agreed.
And in the East, there's 4 teams right now
Definitely.
that are in the East can go to the championship. So it's like it's tough for me to say, oh, it's just a fail because Miami can beat them, Boston can beat them, Milwaukee can beat them. So I can't say fully it'd be a failure. But getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, it's something I expect at minimum for them.
But then again, if Harden was Harden,
this wouldn't be a discussion.
Exactly.
But he isn't.
Correct. No doubt.
He's still an elite playmaker, though. You know,
That's the only thing you could say is elite right now of his game.
yeah. Hey, Harden.
And I've been telling you guys all year long that he's not the same.
All year long?
Yes.
Yes.
All year long, he's been so like,
Nah,
he's
been
good, he's back. I hate him. He's let me down.
He's been
James
pretty-
Harden, never doubted him. I jinxed him. No, he's a bum again.
No, all year long I've said Harden is not the same. And when you watch him, you can tell he's not the same. You know, we even had the argument of if he's an elite shooter or not. And now you look at his only job is to facilitate sometimes and spot up, and he's shooting 32% from three. Because James Harden was never an elite shooter. That's a 3-point shooter. He never was.
Never strong, but
he was a
that.
good one that took a lot of threes on high volume, and that's why he got those.
He was
numbers.
never an elite spot up.
He was a more create off the dribble.
To talk about who won between these two, it really depends on the version of Harden the Sixers are getting moving forward. But even with that, like, I pose a question to you guys. The Sixers probably are better without Seth than Harden. Like, this current version of Harden, if these playoffs, Seth would be more valuable to that team than what Harden is offered.
I mean, are we getting the Seth that we just seen?
Correct.
We're getting the Seth that we've seen
From Philly, though.
From Philly, who's been
okay.
consistent. James Harden has fallen off so much that, I mean, before the season started, consensus top 10 player. Now he's 20 to 30.
Damn.
You can go for maybe 25 to 30.
That's a crazy drop off.
Like James Harden, you can name 25 players that you probably take over James Harden right now.
I want to do that really badly right now.
Nah.
Like, for example, a player that ranks amongst the 20 to 30 spot is
Jaylen Brown.
Brandon Ingram. Would you take Ingram right now or James Harden? You're taking Brandon Ingram.
That's fair. He's not lying.
That's so crazy to say out loud, but
That's
it's
what I'm saying,
facts.
yeah.
Even a guy like Pascal Siakam, you're taking Pascal Siakam over James Harden.
What's your opinion on that?
I hate Mr. Spinneroni. But yeah, you're right.
Yo, take it easy on him, all right?
I take Spin Cycle.
Thank you. He's been balling.
Yeah, I take Spin Cycle.
The only reason why the Nets may not lose this trade is because, one, I mean, Ben Simmons is 25 years old. I mean, regardless of what you want to say about him, I feel like, I don't know where the report came from that he was going to play in Game 4, but I thought it was irresponsible because clearly a player who has been hurt all year long and who was dealing with mental health issues to now for somebody to report he's going to play for Game 4, playoff intensity basketball.
Crazy.
It doesn't make sense. And for those people saying, man, you just got to give your team a chance out there. I mean, we know what a 3-0 lead is in the NBA. Like it is.
We?
Yes, we do.
Do we?
We know what it is.
I don't know. We might have that definition changed for us.
Okay, but historically, we know
Correct.
what it is. It's basically
over.
If this was jail, it's a life sentence.
Unless
like that's what
you're
it
playing
is.
Doc Rivers, right?
That's what it is. That's what a 3-0 lead is. So
Correct.
for Ben Simmons to come back when one, he probably doesn't even help you in terms of offense because of the spacing KD needs.
For sure.
Defensively, his injury, we don't know how he's going to look. I think it was irresponsible for them to put that report out there. And I don't think the back pain thing is a lie. You know, there's scientific studies that show that psychological distress causes chronic back pain. So,
really? Okay.
Yeah, like it's
Come on, man. Let's just not dig too deep into that.
Look, it's just a fact. And I don't know how Ben Simmons is
That's crazy.
feeling. Maybe this is all a facade, maybe it's not, but I feel like you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, I think a lot of people now, they feel like just because these athletes make a lot of money, they are immune to emotion. Paul George spoke about it in the bubble when he, didn't play to his level. And Ben Simmons has experienced that he's experienced that at a grander level.
But you know what's great about Paul George and why he has my ultimate respect is because he spoke out and then he balled. Now, Ben Simmons can have what has transpired be okay so long as he comes back and he balls. That's the difference right now.
I just feel like it went from I don't want to play here no more to now I have like stress when you finally get out of there.
No, I have back pain now.
Well, because of the stress.
Yeah, correct.
I think it's just like the timing of all of it is still a little weird, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
It's foggy.
Again.
It's foggy.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't want to speculate too much on it. But we also have to understand when talking about, when answering the question, winning and losing, we have to understand why these teams made the trade. The Sixers made the trade to win a championship.
Definitely.
They traded Ben Simmons. They waited to trade Ben Simmons until a player like Harden or Dame became available because they didn't want a Malcolm Brogdon
De'Aaron Fox.
or they didn't want I would even say, Fox. They didn't want a Harrison Barnes. They didn't want these guys. They wanted Harden. So they made this move to get that guy to get over the hump. The Nets traded Harden because he was disgruntled, because he had, without literally doing it, he had quit on the team. That's why they traded him. The Nets knew, like, man, Harden at his best versus Simmons and whatever we're getting, the ceiling for our team isn't going to be as high, but we have no choice but to trade him.
The ceiling,
same thing for the Sixers.
The ceiling should be just as high when you have Kevin Durant and Kyrie.
With Harden, the ceiling is higher.
I mean, you have arguably the greatest three put together that only played 16 games. My point being is you still have KD, you still have Kyrie. That should have been more than enough.
And Daryl Morey went on a bunch of interview sprees and talked about how he has to maximize Embiid now.
For sure.
So he has to he has to make the perfect trade when trading Ben Simmons, and he thought it was Harden, and he has not been the player.
Morey did his job. I think Morey, for sure, he has to maximize Embiid, and I think he did the best move at the moment that he could have done. So.
Yeah. But then again, I understand the criticism for Ben Simmons. You know, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt for a little bit, but also you have to understand that, you know, all these players played injured in the playoffs. You look at Rob Will, he played injured. John Collins came back injured. Anthony Edwards tweaked his knee and then came back the same game. Steph Curry also coming off the bench while still dealing with his injury. So players,
you just wasn't going to say Zach LaVine's name, huh?
Oh, Zach LaVine. Yeah, I guess I'll say his name too. Luka too, coming back from his hamstring.
Devin Booker's coming back tonight, or excuse me, the next game that they play.
So we're seeing players coming back from injuries, and the fact that Ben Simmons didn't give it a shot, I understand that perspective where you at least wanted Ben Simmons to do something similar to what Anthony Davis did last year in the Sun series, where he came back. It was clear he was hurt. He ran up and down the court a couple times, and then he re-injured himself.
Pulled himself out of the game.
And then it was like, we knew, okay, like he gave it a shot at least. So I can understand that perspective, that people at least wanted to see Ben Simmons give it a shot. Like, at least try. If it's visible that, like, okay, like, you cannot play, you know, they'll applaud you. You go back to the bench, you know, you did what you can. But I think the frustration stems from he didn't try. And that's what I think, you know, most of it stems from. And this is a big-time offseason for the Nets because now they have to deal with Ben Simmons and try to get him right mentally. And who knows what's going to happen, you know, because there's a possibility that we go through this entire offseason and Ben Simmons doesn't shoot up for game one. So,
which would be crazy.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. He needs to play opening day.
He's owed $117 million.
Yep.
Yeah. But James Harden. So let's get back to this because I'm actually curious, and we can just name players that
the top 20 or 25 better than Harden.
So you're just gonna name it. We're gonna go him or Harden.
So okay,
here we go.
Love it, man.
Is James Harden a top 25, 30 player still? That sounds like a crazy question, but let's go over some names. Nikola Jokic. Giannis. Embiid. LeBron. KD. Trae Young. Luka. Ja Morant. Karl Anthony Towns.
Cat. He's been balling these last couple games. I don't want to disrespect Cat.
I just had to think about it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's 9. Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy.
That's 10. DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar.
That's 11. Let me go through.
Kawhi.
Yeah, let me go through, like, because a lot of these players' PERs are kind of, because they're centers.
PER.
Yeah. Okay, so Jayson Tatum. That's 12. Brandon Ingram.
But it's a conversation. But I take Ingram.
Okay. What number am I on, if you guys?
14.
14? Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan.
Devin Booker.
Booker.
Zach LaVine.
Conversation, but Zach.
I'm going LaVine.
Jaylen Brown.
JB.
Conversation, but JB.
Paul George. CJ McCollum.
That's the one.
CJ has come to the Pelicans, and he really has changed them.
That's the one. I got to think about that one.
I'll just ask you this: if CJ swap him and Harden on the Sixers right now,
I'm going CJ.
CJ McCollum.
Okay, Bradley Beal.
Yeah, Bradley fucking Beal. Bradley Beal, man. God damn it, Harden.
What
Harden's
number am I
so
on?
Inconsistent.
17.
This is supposed to be your job, man.
Yeah, he's on 17.
Is it 17?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. Oh,
You're
man.
missing a lot of names too. This.
I know. I'm gonna keep going.
I'll tell
Did
you
you
what.
say Curry?
No,
Well, that's obvious. 18. God damn it.
I would probably go.
I think you got to go Beal.
You low key have to, because Beal's fake a good playmaker too. He's not James Harden, but he's a decent passer
He's a
also.
bucket too.
I'm going Beal.
Okay, so just for reference, I actually just pulled up my NBA ranking quiz. I had Harden 23 on here. So this is going to be much easier for me, at least, to keep up with these names.
Let's do it
So
again.
I'll just do it through whatever I have here.
Let's do it.
So Giannis,
Yes.
Giannis,
Jokic,
Yep.
Jokic,
Steph,
Steph,
Embiid,
Yep.
Embiid,
LeBron,
Yep.
LeBron,
Luka,
Yeah.
Luka,
Tatum,
Yep.
Tatum,
KD,
KD,
Kawhi,
Yeah.
Kawhi,
PG,
Yep.
PG,
Dame,
Yep.
Dame,
John Morant,
Yes.
Ja,
Cat,
Yeah.
Cat,
AD,
Yep.
AD,
Jimmy Butler,
Yeah.
Jimmy,
Trey Young,
Yep.
Trey,
Devin Booker,
Mm-hmm.
D-Book,
DeMar DeRozan,
Mm-hmm.
Lamar,
Zion Williamson,
Mm-hmm.
Zion,
Jaylen Brown,
JB.
Darius Garland, or
No.
Harden right now?
Harden.
I'm going Garland.
Wow.
Brandon Ingram.
Ingram.
BI. So you would take BI over Garland?
Yes.
Easy?
Yes.
I don't like that, but
Kyrie,
I'm going Kai.
Kai.
Chris Paul,
CP.
CP.
Donovan Mitchell,
Don.
Don.
Zach LaVine,
Zach.
Levine.
SGA.
I can't answer that. I'll be too biased. I'm gonna go SGA though.
I'm going to see. This is the tricky part because we say.
Nah, you know
We
what?
say
I'm
SGA.
gonna pay homage. Harden.
Yeah, I was
Harden.
going to say because we say SGA because we're
But then you can't
projecting.
say
We're
Garland.
projecting. But you're saying that's easy SGA over Garland?
I think SGA is better than Garland.
That's a conversation we can have.
And players not on here on this list.
And with
is
that
CJ
being said,
McCollum
I'm
either.
taking SGA.
All right, yeah, you got to. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He didn't even name. There's a lot of players missing.
For sure.
We're not even.
Yeah.
He might not be top 30 the way the list just went. Nah, no way. Harden can't go out like that.
I mean, this is the
Listen,
reality.
he blows
though.
this 3-0 lead. You're toast. You're toast.
Yeah,
Why is he toast?
I
He
picked
knows
Philly.
why.
You picked Philly. That's why you're toast.
Picked Philly in 6
Because I've been getting clowned, right? You've been clowning me all season when it matters most. Who's stepping up to the plate? Don't blow this 3-0 lead.
This is game.
This
6
is like
right
you
here.
have
I
the
said
3-0
Philly-
lead.
I said Philly in 6. It's right here.
Okay.
Been
all
waiting
right.
for this.
Okay.
I think Philly closes it out too.
All right, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it right now.
We'll talk about it now. Sixers, they were up 3-0 against the Raptors, and the Raptors have come back. They won 2 games in a row. Game 6 is in Toronto. Now, 14 teams have won 2 games after trailing 0-3, and the Raptors would become the 4th team ever to force 7 games after trailing 3-0 since the 2003 Blazers versus the Mavericks. So this hasn't been done in 19 years. This is what they're about to do.
Insane.
So this is an insane, remarkable achievement, even if they don't pull it out. Now, I'm just going to say this. I originally picked Toronto in this series. Sixers look dominant. I thought this series should be 3-2. I didn't think the Sixers should have got off to a 3-0 lead. Now, I think what's really helped Toronto, like just flat out, is Fred VanVleet being
It's
out.
crazy you're going to say that, but I'm not gonna front.
Scotty Barnes now being the point guard and them going to a lineup where everybody is 6'5" or taller, that length and size has really bothered Philadelphia. And Fred VanVleet, although he is a pesky defender, he did get hunted down on mismatches because he is short in stature. And he's a player that has been injured, frankly, since the All-Star break, and he hasn't fully recovered from that. And he's a volume shooter. He attempts 10 threes a game. If it's not hitting, are you driving to the basket? Are you doing that enough? He just wasn't doing enough of that.
And you said we saw that in game 3, 100%.
It's really, I think, on Embiid is fine. Toronto has been trapping and collapsing on Embiid more and more.
You don't think the ligament thing's real?
I think it's real.
I mean,
but
it said that he's going to have surgery.
I think what's happening is that Toronto is starting to trap Embiid. They're starting to double team him whenever he gets the ball. And Toronto's basically saying, we don't trust your players. We know Tyrese Maxey had that game-one explosion. He's been silent since. Tobias Harris will let him beat us, and James Harden isn't the same player. James Harden in the series is shooting 32% from the field, and for the 5 games, he shot under 40% from the field in total. Now, I look at the Sixers, and does this feel like they are about to blow this? It does. James Harden, for his career, has been a player who has been notoriously known for these types of collapses in the playoffs. Doc Rivers, their head coach, he is a coach who has been notoriously known for 3-1 collapses in the playoffs. He is the only coach in NBA history to blow 3-1 leads, and he might become the first one to blow a 3-0 lead. And I think what puts the cherry on top of this entire thing is that Nick Nurse, remarkable quote after down 3-0. What he said, complete poise, and it was like he was fortune telling that, well, we're down 3-0, but if we win a game, we're down 3-1, and that's been done before. So that type of confidence he instilled in his team just with that answer. You're going to Game 6 in Toronto, knowing how tough that crowd, that fan base is.
And you're picking Philly?
It's tough.
You just spoke everything that is
tough thing.
facts.
It's tough to make a prediction on this because I look at Philly and I'm like, Embiid is going to get me at least a game. The MVP, who a lot of people have as the MVP, is going to get me at least out this series. I think they're losing to whoever, to the Heat next round, easily. But Embiid, who's an MVP, at least get me one of these games. He should do that.
I think Philly wins in 7. I think
I respect
Embiid.
that.
I agree with you. Embiid may not get 6, but they no way in hell he's going to lose in 7 in Philly. It's just too much. And you're right. Defensively, they've stepped it up. They've been amazed. They've been a lot healthier. I went and did a little bit of research. Trent Jr., he's not sick anymore. Dad Young isn't hurt anymore. So they've been extremely healthy now. Even though Fred VanVleet, obviously, he missed some times. But like you said, now
they beat Philly in the regular season without Fred.
Yeah, now they can throw out that 6'5" and up lineup defensively. Now you can put Trent Jr. and Tyrese. Now you can play a bigger, more physical style. Fred VanVleet, shout out to him, but he's just being that small, can't do it.
And give credit to Scotty Barnes. Barely was able to walk in that game 3 and was able to
amazing.
And that's another example about like that ties into
that
Simmons.
Gritty facts.
But I think
Scotty came in and played.
I think Philly gets it in 7, but if Embiid doesn't win Game 7, we need to have a conversation about him.
You
need to have a serious
You
conversation.
beat me to the punch. That is so facts because we're here talking about Harden. We should be talking about Embiid.
Because it's not this. This will be the second time which he's had his game in his home court and he's lost. So we need to have a conversation about him. I think we need to end that conversation with Doc Rivers. I don't even know how the hell he got on the top 15 coaches of the year list, an all-time list. Mm-hmm. Terrible, but we need to definitely have a conversation. Because I think in Game 7, Philly will come out with the win. But like you said, they're going to have to play Miami next. And Jimmy Butler looks amazing. Miami's defense looks ridiculous. And I know people like to disrespect Atlanta. They're not that good, but they're a high-powered offensive team. And Miami just locked them down pretty badly. So that's going to be a tough series. They need to get out of this one, but I think Embiid gets it in 7. So I'm going to go with Embiid at 7.
The reason why I have my worries about Embiid, he has a torn ligament on his right thumb. If it was the left hand, we could have a conversation. It's not his shooting hand. He has this torn ligament on his right thumb, his shooting dominant hand. And we've seen where, yes, he's having decent shooting performances, but he's not the aggressive Joel Embiid that we have seen earlier in this series. He had a 33-point per game. He had a 33-point game. He had a 30-point per game. He had 30 points in 2 games early in the series when they went up 3-0. Game 1 was kind of a wash. He really didn't have to do much. And then we saw in Game 4, the injury started to take a toll on him when Toronto was able to take control. And then this most recent game, Embiid just was not the aggressor that he needed to be. And we've seen James Harden be inconsistent, especially these last 2 games where he scored 22 in Game 4, but in Game 5, he was basically a non-factor. And Tyrese Maxey, who was great in Game 1, and I was here on their next show giving him praise, saying that he's been one of the top young performers, has gone to what I was originally saying, how you have moments where Tyrese Maxey is a great scorer, and then the next time, it's basically like you can't even tell that he's on the court. I have my reservations, and understandably so. If Joel Embiid is not the dominant force that the Philadelphia 76ers need him to be. You cannot rely on James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, because they're too inconsistent. Do I understand what you guys are saying, that Embiid should get one? Yes. But right now, with the injury that he has, that is already confirmed, he will have surgery on it once the season is over, and we've already seen it impact his aggression. I have my concerns, especially with the way that Toronto has been playing. Siakam, where he choked it up in Game 3, him and Van Vliet had a strong chance to take that game. Both of them, their two best players, were mediocre at best. They had poor performances, and they're the reason why they lost Game 3. Game 4, Siakam came to play. He's the reason why they came away with that W in Game 4. And Game 5, he was just as good. I'm looking at it from this sense. They win Game 6. Now that they're at home in Toronto, momentum is completely one-sided to Toronto. Game 5 was the game for Philadelphia. Game 5 was the game for Philadelphia to win the series. At Philadelphia, they're one of the best home teams in the NBA. To lose that game, to now turn it over to Toronto, who is also one of the more dominant teams at home, the momentum has completely shifted. I don't know how we can sit here and trust Doc Rivers in a Game 7 when he's been notoriously known for blowing leads, and Nick Nurse, who has been the king of adjustments since becoming the head coach of the Toronto Raptors. Toronto is going to win this series in 7, and it will be the first 3-0 comeback.
Ooh. The thing about Embiid is I really don't think it's the lack of aggression for him. I mean, you look at all these games, 15 shots, 16 shots, 20 shots, 16 shots, 15 shots. All the shots have been relatively the same. The difference is that the Raptors are now trapping him, and they're forcing the ball out of his hands so he can't, one, draw fouls.
I was going to say, he's not getting to the line.
What he's doing.
Which part takes to his aggression.
But like you look at the first 3 games, he shot 15 shots, 16, then 20 shots. And from the free throw line, 11 free throws, 14 free throws, and 9 free throws. And they won all those games.
For
sure.
sure.
In the first game, he had 19, and they won still. Game 4, to me, I thought it was terribly officiated. I thought Philadelphia should have won that game. But, I mean, Tim Donahue, who is notoriously known for betting on rigging games, rigging the outcome of games, he said that the NBA refs in the NBA, they deliberately officiate Game 4s that have one team up 3-0 differently because it generates the league more revenue. I thought Game 4, the missed calls on the Sixers, I mean, James Harden, yes, he's not the same player he once was. I am seeing him get harassed. I am seeing him get hit. I am not seeing any fouls called on James Harden. And I thought that game wasn't officiated right. And when you talk about one game being officiated in favor of the Raptors and they win that one, I mean, winning Game 5, I think is okay. The Raptors win it. I think that was a wake-up call for the Sixers. And Game 6, I think they're going to win. I think Sixers in 6 still. I think they're going to win this upcoming game.
They're going to win in Toronto? I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I think they win in Toronto.
I would be shocked.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty like, oh, shit, if they win in Toronto.
Again, it's all predicated on Joel Embiid being Joel Embiid.
The other guys, man, they got to step up.
I also think that not having Matisse Thybulle out there helps their offense when they do trap Embiid because now he can pass it to somebody who can shoot. So not having Matisse Thybulle and now having more shooters out on the floor, I think it's going to help Philadelphia. But, yeah, I think they're going to win 6. I'm not buying it's going to happen.
It's a shame, man. You're on the right side of history originally.
Well, the odds are that it's not going to happen.
Of course, but, sometimes you got to take a gamble. And what my eyes have been telling me is that Toronto has been the better team these last couple of games.
Good gamble.
What your eyes are telling you is that Toronto they had one game where they outplayed the Sixers.
Siakam was the best player on the court in Game 4.
Okay, but as a team, the Sixers outplayed the Raptors.
Game 3, and listen, I have to give credit to OG Anunoby, who has since Game 3 on has been tremendous for the Raptors. His efforts defensively and offensively has been hitting big-time shots. Not a strong, dominant scoring performance numbers-wise, but when you need him, he's hitting shots down the stretch, and defensively he has been fantastic since Game 3 on. That's another one we got to give credit. However, we can't look at it from the lens of solely from the fact that they went down 3-0, and Game 4, Siakam put on a performance of a lifetime. OG Anunoby was great as well. Scotty Barnes, just being out there alone, his presence is felt. This team is different.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but Embiid's defense in Game 5 wasn't good.
And it's, again, this hand injury is serious.
His thumb is what's hindering his defense.
His right hand, yes, it hinders shot blocking. It hinders you wanting to put up a body.
No. I mean, Embiid's just not. He's being lazy. He was lazy on defense Game 5. That has nothing to do with your thumb. That's about moving your feet.
You wouldn't think it would, but 100% it does. It impacts your decision making.
Okay.
Miami's gonna dog walk either team.
I'm unfortunately under the same belief. It's killing me, man. We're gonna have one of the biggest pretenders in NBA history.
Ooh.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I know that they're about to go crazy with that one.
Heat versus the Sixers or Raptors. We're gonna preview it. I mean, we both have the Sixers. You have the Raptors, but whatever. We're gonna preview the series depending on what happens now. Just flat out, to talk about the Heat and how they beat Atlanta. They beat them 4-1. They beat them handily. Trae Young, they didn't have the best series. I think, Miami's defense was great. I think they're getting their arms in the passing lanes and their hands in the passing lanes, deflecting passes, having switchable defenders. I think Max Strus, who has been one of their weaker defenders, really stepped up in this series as a defender on Trae Young when he was matched up with him. The Heat play great defense. There's no doubt about it. When talking about Trae Young not performing, I didn't think that it was anything the Heat did outstanding in terms of a scheme that totally threw off Trae Young. I think it was a combination of Trae Young naturally and throughout his career is a bad shot maker. He takes deep threes. He takes contested shots. In this series, it wasn't falling. There's a lot of times, like similar to the Nets, where you see Trae Young, there's 22 seconds left.
Shot selection.
Yeah. There's 22 seconds left on the shot clock. You see Trae Young heave up a logo three. And right when he gets a switch, instead of taking somebody to the basket, I understand there's some help there. Yeah. He doesn't make a pass, and he just instead settles for a shot. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a lot of Trae Young settling for shots. He missed a lot of shots he usually makes. This was a stinker from him. There's no excuses for him. But I want to dead the notion that this series somehow makes or breaks him. And we'll get into that later, but I just don't agree with that. This is somebody who has been averaging 28 and 10 for 2 seasons now, has been an all-star starter, has led his team to the Eastern Conference Finals. He gets the benefit of the doubt for having a stinker in this first round, and he's even admitted it. This is the first time a team has guarded me like this in terms of them trapping him and always basically the entire defense was focused on Trae the entire series. Wherever he drove, there was help. He was getting hounded. That's why he settled for so many shots. I think he got impatient. First time he's seen that type of coverage. So I think he'll bounce back from it. There's no doubt. The Hawks need to surround him with more talent. It's simple as that. As for the Heat, I love what they did. Resting Jimmy Butler in Game 5. It allowed Victor Oladipo to have a breakout game. He had 23 points in 36 minutes. And what's most impressive about this Heat series winning in 5, is that Bam Adebayo didn't play well. Kyle Lowry was hurt. Tyler Hero didn't play well. Jimmy Butler is the only Heat that you can say out of like their main guys that played well. Yeah, you had Max Strus who stepped up. Duncan Robinson did some shots here and there. PJ Tucker, I mean, we know how great of a player he is. And he did what he had to do. But Bam, Hero, 2 of the 3 best players didn't play well, and they still beat Atlanta in 5. I think that's pretty impressive. It doesn't matter who makes it, who they face, whether it's the Raptors or the Sixers. The Miami Heat are going to the conference finals. If it's against Toronto, Toronto simply doesn't have the offense to beat a team like Miami. Put PJ Tucker on Siakam, watch him go silent. That's what's going to happen. Because PJ Tucker is one of the best defenders in the NBA. There's no doubt about that. I just think Toronto doesn't have enough offense. Philly, we see what they're going through right now. Embiid having a thumb injury. Harden not being the same. Imagine if they put Tucker or Jimmy Butler on James Harden. Now we're really going to see Harden neutralized. I just feel like it doesn't matter who they face. The Miami Heat are making the conference finals. We made a segment about it last week if they have the easiest path, because they do. And rightfully so. People in the comment section said that. I mean, that's why you get the number 1 seed, to have that easy of a path. And you're right. And it's showing now, and they will be in the conference finals. There's no doubt about it.
We'll get into that Trae Young stuff later because I got a lot to say about that. But in terms of just Miami Heat, Miami in 6 against Philly, Miami in 5 or 4 against Toronto. Just giving
4.
They're gonna do it to Toronto. I'm gonna be honest with you. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. We've been dogging him all year about his 3-point shot. We've been dogging him all year about being aggressive.
I told you he's one of those players that you just trust.
I don't remember you saying that, but okay, we'll go.
I did say that.
Nah, I don't remember. All I said was I don't remember.
I said that though.
All right, I'll give you the benefit of the
Jimmy,
doubt.
there's players that even though the percentages aren't all the way there, you just trust them. I can't remember who said it, but I saw it somewhere. I heard it somewhere where Dwayne Wade, you don't leave him open from 3, even though he's not a good statistical 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
You still guard up on that. Jimmy Butler's the same way. Although his statistics, his splits don't show that he can do it, you don't give him that shot because you know he can hit it.
Well, yeah, like I said, shout out to Jimmy. He's been amazing offensively and defensively. We always know Jimmy Butler's going to bring that defense. The starting 5 defensively, even like you said, Maxwell, shout out to Maxwell. He doesn't look like a liability. And then even when they plug in Gabe Vincent, they don't miss a tune.
I think Gabe Vincent, sorry to cut you off, but I think Gabe Vincent, right now he's better than Kyle Lowry.
This is Drew looked up a tweet that you said on the 30th. Heat have no chance. Like I've always said, Jimmy Butler can't be the best player on the championship team, a second-round exit team that overachieve. That's all this team is. He said this at 10:44 p.m. Oh, my God. That was you being reactionary.
It was a while ago, King. I'm not going to front.
I mean, you totally skimmed through the tweet about Jimmy Butler.
It was from...
I mean, I never said you can win the championship with Butler being the best player on the team. I just said I trust him.
Hey, man.
He's been elite.
Man, be fair. Get my tweet about Butler.
It's funny. I think the only teams that could beat Miami right now are the Bucks and Boston in the East. I think, given that both teams, Bucks, I think it'd be a tough series because they've always, kept Giannis in check for the most part, him being who he is. They're the best team to guard Giannis so far at his peak. And Boston, I think defensively, that's just going to be a defensive dogfight. 6-7 game series. Boston, offensively, is Miami going to be able to keep up? But defensively, I think they'll be able to lock down. So it'll just be 2 defenses. It'll be an amazing series. But I think right now, Miami's looking like they're going to go walk to the ECF. Their defense has been nothing short of amazing. One of the best defenses in the league, able to switch 1 through 5. They were able to basically do what Boston did to Kevin Durant and just bully Trae Young and just treat him like a boy and just manhandle him throughout the series. He was looking for multiple switches. He couldn't find it because they had defenders everywhere. So, simple and short to the point, Miami's going to destroy Philly, especially with Embiid, having this hand injury. It's going to be tough for him. Bam is a tough matchup, and they're going to be able to trap and keep one guy on, James Harden. PJ knows his game. Jimmy Butler's an elite defender. And then Toronto, they're just going to be able to lock up every single person they put out there. So, yeah, Miami's going to the ECF.
Just to be fair to Joel Moran, that tweet was from 2020, so I was just being a bastard. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
But
he was being a dick.
Yeah, I was just for the lulz.
But then when we bring up your Lakers 65 wins,
that was this season, so that's fair.
Yeah.
Nothing like bringing 2-year-old tweets.
Oh no, for sure. So to talk about the Heat versus 76ers and or the Raptors, I do believe that it will be the Raptors.
You know what's funny? Before you go on your spiel, that's something I would have tweeted this year. And I didn't know it was from 2020. If you wouldn't have said that, I would have thought it was from this year.
I want it to be fair
because that's something I probably would have tweeted this year.
That's false. That's false advertisement. And I don't want to do that to you, King. But the Heat are an interesting team because I'm looking at the performance that they put forward on the Hawks, and I wasn't really blown away by their performance. I will acknowledge that they did win in 5, and that's very impressive. But I'm not overreacting to their performance against the Hawks because from watching back the games, Trae Young really was just not in a mindset that I was expecting him to going into this series, where it seemed as if he was rattled. He said it that this is the first time in a long time that he's faced a defense that has pressured him the way that the Miami Heat have pressured him. And from watching it, yes, there were some moments where they were really trapping very well on Trae Young, but in certain moments, he's seeing the help defender, and that's more so in his head than anything, and it's forcing him into a bad shot. And I feel as if when you're a superstar, when you are at that level, the other team is not really messing you up. You're the one messing yourself up. Because in practice, you're making same shots over and over and over again. You rarely miss in practice. When it comes to game time and you're at that level, the only one really hindering your game is your mind. If you can stay out of your own mind, you usually ball. That's where the superstars really elevate themselves and separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And you have Trae Young, who last season really exhibited that in every series that he was in. But this year against Miami, he seemed to be a little bit more passive, really rattled at times, and that was really surprising to see. So for getting Trae Young rattled, I guess I have to give Miami their respect. But offensively, I still have my concerns. Jimmy Butler went on a rampage. He was fantastic, averaged over 30 points. But you look at the rest of the team.
Tyler Hero agenda pushed.
Tyler Hero agenda is being pushed. You have Victor Oladipo in just 2 games, 14.5 points average. Max Strus was their next best scorer, 14 points per game. Tyler Hero, 12.8 points per game on splits of 17.9% from 3 and 39% from the field. Tyler Hero, who is supposed to be their number 2 scorer on this team, was abysmal, but somehow, some way, they still won in 5. And I'm looking more so in the lens of Atlanta just does not have the guys. If you want to put Trae Young on a squad where he is the smallest guy on the court, you need to surround him with bodies. You need to surround him with guys that are going to play defense and guys that are going to protect him when it comes to the defensive end of the court and guys that he can trust to facilitate the ball to. Right now, they just don't have that. Now, for the preview of Miami versus the Sixers and or Toronto, in my case, Toronto, it is going to be a series where Miami is going to win, but it is not going to be one that I'm going to overreact to again. We can see it where a team makes the ECF and we're still not overly impressed with them. Yes, it's an accomplishment that you made the Eastern Conference Finals. I will give you that respect, but Toronto, who is not going to have Fred VanVleet, who offensively is just not on the level of the Miami Heat right now, the real test is going to be against Boston and against Milwaukee, whoever they are going to face, as you already alluded to. Until they face someone that I am really seeing as a true contender, I'm not going to be here saying that I'm wrong on the Heat or my assessment of the Heat has been wrong, because right now they have just been living up to that, given the fact that their offense has been mid outside of Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's been great, and I give him his flowers, but every other teammate of his has been mid. But defensively, you give them their respect, but offensively, which is my genuine concern of theirs, it hasn't been.
When talking about the Miami Heat, if I'm projecting here, because I know they're going to the conference finals, but whether it's against the Bucks or Celtics is a different story. Against the Bucks, that's a great matchup for the Heat. And I've said it all year long that if they do face the Bucks, it would be the third time they face in the playoffs. They are 1-1 now in terms of series. I would have the Heat in that. I think the matchup just favors them. When I look at Boston is Miami with Tatum and Brown. That's really it. And with shooters that can also defend. Because of that, I feel like that's a worse matchup for them. And I would pick Boston in that series, no doubt. But with the Bucks, I pick Miami.
Wow.
Glad to see it, man. Argument 1. There we go.
Argument 1. Thank you. Take your L.
You know, it's funny. It's funny. You know what's funny about you two?
What happened?
Is that, well, for one, you were kind of like saving face on the Celtics in mid-year. You completely flipped.
100%.
You completely flipped.
And I've acknowledged that every single time.
He flipped on Milwaukee. It was just crazy.
Yeah, but I'm just seeing a different team from the Celtics.
And the funny thing is that I was the person that early in the season, in the off season, was telling you to watch out for Boston.
But then
week one,
you said they're done.
18.
They're not making the playoffs.
They went 18-21. They went 18 or 8. This is the best in-season turnaround I've ever seen ever watching basketball.
You rode for Miami when they were on their hot streak.
In the offseason, I was the one that said Tatum is going to go from high-level all-star to superstar MVP. Now, I never took back that take. I just took back my take on Boston as a team as a whole. I was the one that told you guys that their ceiling is a top 3 seed, and you were like, no way. You too.
I wasn't here. Oh, I wasn't here.
Okay. but I probably
you
feel like you would.
You flipped on Boston. I flipped on the Bucks. And then you flipped on Miami, but then you jumped back on Miami, and then you flipped again. Then you jumped back again.
I mean, even with Miami, I'm not wrong on them.
You flipped on the Bucks.
It's unfortunate that they're playing Boston.
No, you haven't talked about them in a month.
That's not true.
Yeah, that is true. You've been talking about Boston for like a month.
There's actually a video waiting in IG Reels. It's always been a draft. I never posted it. It's waiting in IG Reels, and it's you saying, "I just don't see a team that can beat the Bucks."
I mean, that was very early.
So he has the ingredients to destroy you.
No, that's not. I mean, that's not really destroying me. That's also I was very consistent, especially up until the halfway point that Milwaukee has been great.
Consistent is all your thing.
And then
we've been consistent with Miami. That's what we can genuinely say. We've been consistent all year.
But I'm saying I was very consistent early in the season that Milwaukee was my squad till the All-Star break. Sad. And then after the All-Star break, we seen the Celtics just turn up a different level, and I was immediately on it. And I gave you your credit every single time, but now I've been donned the Celtics supporter of the Pick a Side crew, and here we are.
He's the Miami supporter.
And who are you? You're on the Bucks.
Look, I don't want. I'm not a Miami supporter.
I'm just saying we sat at this table, and I told you I'm taking Boston's defense
is what I am.
And their offense.
I am a realist.
Wow.
That's what I am. I am real about Miami. They will be in the conference finals.
They will be.
They depending on matchup. And look, it's not like the Celtics are going to wash them. Listen, the Celtics had a lot of good luck shooting in that Nets series against a defense like Grant Williams not missing.
Well, we did have I think we had a screaming match about the Heat and Celtics, and you picked Miami to beat them.
No, that is what I was alluding to.
Okay,
but
I agree.
Let me just tell you before you.
I'm saying, look, Boston.
Before you're talking crazy on Grant Williams. He has been a consistent three-point shooter the whole season.
I know. Lights out against the Nets.
For sure, but he has been consistent all season.
But come on, he wasn't
yes, he's not going to keep up this level of what?
He was bugging.
And against the Heat's defense,
but
I'm just saying.
A 40% three-point shooter
Heat
the whole year.
That's going to be
versus Celtics.
The Pistons
The reason why I favor the Celtics is because, look, I like what I said in the beginning of the year, Tatum has taken that MVP jump.
I'm glad to hear you saying the vibes.
Oh, look, I love Tatum. I never said I didn't love Tatum. I love Jayson Tatum. And, I mean, hot take, but if he got past Brooklyn, swept them, if he beats Milwaukee, beats Miami, and somehow beats Golden State in the finals, we got to talk about Tatum as being a top 3 player in the world.
No Middleton.
It's crazy. He's robbing me of this moment. It's
no Middleton.
No, it definitely.
No, this isn't your moment.
No,
your
he's
moment
robbing
is
me
Boston
because I've
as a team.
No, I mean, and Jayson Tatum has been at the forefront. I've been pushing the MVP agenda for him. I was the only one that.
Well,
did
you're
that.
wrong about that. He wasn't MVP.
He's an MVP candidate for sure.
He wasn't top 3.
He wasn't top 3.
No, he wasn't top 3.
Yeah, so that's really all that matters.
No, fair enough. But he has still solidified himself as a top 5 player this season.
So let me ask you a question, just quickly, not off the topic, but on the topic. If Devin Booker walks through Dallas, then Golden State, then the Bucks again, are we talking about him as a top 3 player, or it only matters for Tatum?
No, it's top 10. D-Book now becomes top 10 for sure.
The difference is...
Wow. Yeah. He was already top 10.
No, he's fringe top 10. He's fringe.
No, D-Book's like 10, 15.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The difference is...
You can't name 15 better than
here's the
Devin
difference.
Booker right now.
Tatum is unbelievable defensively. Booker is not... He's not at that level.
I can name you 10 better than Book.
Name 10 real quick.
Oh my God, you're gonna get me like I
thought he was like 10 or 11
again.
All right, Giannis, Jokic, Embiid, LeBron,
Steph,
KD, Steph,
Kawhi,
Tatum,
PG.
Oh, so you're putting PG over?
I mean, you would put PG over. It's not about me. You would put PG over too.
So he's 11. So him doing that would jump.
Would you put him over Jimmy Butler?
Yes.
Okay,
I would.
So Giannis, Jokic, Steph, Embiid, LeBron, Luka, Tatum, KD, Kawhi, PG. That's 10.
So he's 11, and if he does that, he doesn't jump mad far up.
Well, I think if he jumped, no,
that's crazy.
How can I put him over Luka? I can't.
You got to put him over Tatum. If Tatum,
like Tatum,
if Tatum loses,
listen to this.
Tatum has to play bad.
Listen to this. Let me give you this. Okay, Luka is without a doubt, undoubtedly top 10.
Yes.
If he has a run where he makes the finals, he's top 5.
So wait, okay. So if Embiid chokes, Tatum loses in the second round, Devin Booker does that, he doesn't lap both of them?
Nah. D-Book over
Embiid's
Embiid's
been back-to-back seasons of top 3 MVP.
But he's been back-to-back seasons of choking.
You're not
that
wrong.
Matters. This is back-to-back seasons of Devin
Booker.
Booker.
But we're talking about Jayson Tatum, who's a superstar.
He is.
Booker's what?
Booker's a superstar.
He's a high-level
No.
Bro, come on. Are we serious?
I think he's a superstar at this point.
You think
he's
he's a
11. If he's
superstar?
11 in the
superstar.
league,
Okay. He's a superstar.
I feel like
Trae Young's a superstar.
You don't have exactly.
There you go. That's
exactly.
it. That's
but
it.
he let it. Okay.
Yeah, stop. No,
D-Book is a superstar.
He's a low.
But look,
superstar.
Tatum's on a different tier than him, though.
I think that's messed up.
As a player,
I feel like that's unfair. If he does the same thing as Tatum, you guys are saying, "Oh no, he doesn't jump up that much."
As two-way
because
players.
if Tatum does that, who are you putting him over?
Wait, so you don't think Tatum's a tier above Book?
Can I ask you a question?
He's 9.
Can I
Book
ask
is
you a
11
question?
for me.
In terms of two-way players, is there a player you're taking outside of Giannis over Jason Tatum? Who?
Kawhi.
Okay, someone who hasn't played.
Look,
I
Drew,
disagree.
Hold up, let me say this.
But who?
Why would you? Hold on.
No, I gotta say this first.
Gotta say it,
because
'cause he's got me tight.
He
He's
missed
got
the
me
whole
mad.
season.
Luka,
You're on him.
Luka is on a different tier than Book. Bro.
I agree.
I think Tatum's on the same tier as Luka.
You're crazy.
No, it's
I
not
know.
crazy.
I think you're crazy.
No,
I think you're
it's
crazy
not.
for
No,
that.
he's not.
Luka is literally on a tier with LeBron, Steph, KD, Giannis. The Joker. Tatum isn't there yet.
What has he done to deserve
No.
that?
Tatum is Luka's
stop.
there.
You need to stop.
But Tatum is he's
he's
there
getting
too.
it, but he isn't there.
No,
I think he's the
no,
next.
he's
right
just
under
got
them.
there.
How?
He just got
a
there.
first round series puts him up there.
And, bro, he's been to 2 Eastern Conference Finals.
And
he wasn't even the best player then. Wait, it was
as
debatable.
as a rookie, he
When?
was.
Throw me his numbers.
What are you
Tell me his
talking
numbers.
about?
Tell me his numbers.
In the playoff.
Tell me his numbers.
Wait, hold
Tell
on.
me his numbers. Tell me his numbers.
Answer
Tell me
this.
his
No.
numbers.
Don't do that.
22
Don't do that, bro.
points.
Don't
That's
do that,
come
bro.
on. That's not their
As a
level.
rookie?
That's not their level,
Who's
bro.
saying their
Who
level?
was the best
He
team?
literally-
Who was the best player in that Boston team that took
talking
the
rookie
Cavs?
At
to
one
seven?
point it was Rozier. At another point,
Who was
Stop.
who
What are
was
you
it?
talking
Who was it?
about?
It was Tatum.
great-
It was Tatum. It was Tatum.
No,
bro.
wait. So wait. Let me.
Who was the best player on the Boston team when they took Miami to
Word.
seven?
Who's the, okay,
Tatum.
so what happened when Tatum stunk it up against the Pacers and the Bucks? We're gonna forget that? Oh.
The second year you're talking about?
No,
in the league?
that was like 3 years after when it was Kyrie and they stunk it up
That
against
was
the
the
Bucks.
second
That
year
was
in
the
the
second
season.
year.
So
That was the
we're
second
not
year.
gonna talk about that.
Dude, come on.
Okay,
now.
but like
we're talking
we're
about. All right, so
talking
let's talk about 2022, where Jason Tatum is on the arguably the best.
He's been averaging 30 since the
He's
All-Star break,
arguably
bro.
on
Okay.
correct. He's
Okay.
arguably on the best team in the NBA, and he just finished a series against Kevin Durant, who you came.
How are
into
they
this-
arguably the best team in the NBA?
You
You talk about like record
this
wise?
season? No, this season they're
No,
arguably
since the All-Star break, they've
No,
been,
no, no. But it is
open your mind. Okay,
regular
open
season,
it
the
up.
Suns
Bro,
were
right
the
now,
best team in the league.
right now they're
Since
favored.
the All-Star break, the
Why are you
Celtics
cutting
have
the
been-
season in half?
Because right now we're in the playoffs, and the Celtics are still one of the hottest teams in
But you
basketball.
cannot cut the season in half. The Suns were
Yo,
the
Drew,
best
hold
team
on,
in the
hold on.
regular
Let me
season,
just
bro.
say,
You're being very close-minded.
No, they won
who is-
60 games.
Riv, who's the best team in the East?
In the East? I don't know.
The answer is the Celtics.
It could be the Bucks. It
No,
could be
the
Boston.
answer is the Celtics.
Right
could be-
now, the
it could-
favorites to make the finals is the Warriors and Celtics. That's the
So
betting
you're
favorite.
going off betting odds.
No,
That's what-
I'm going off what
That's what
well,
you're
the
going
betting
off?
odds is what
No,
based
no,
off
I'm
what
not.
we've seen.
Oh, I'm asking because
The
if
Celtics are the best team in the East, bro. They're the best team in the East.
based off what?
Okay,
Since the All-Star break?
Number one
No,
defense,
just
and
off
that's
of
all
what I'm
season.
seeing,
Okay,
they're the best.
Is that wrong? Number
They're the
one
best.
defense
So wait, let me
all
ask,
season.
Hold on, let me ask you a question. If Middleton was healthy, would you take Boston over the Bucks?
Yes.
I know you would. I'm asking you.
Yes.
You think
I
so?
would
You
take it.
would?
I don't think Middleton changes that series much. I think Grayson Allen's playing better than him.
Ooh, Grayson Allen's been playing well, but I wouldn't go that far.
Oh my god.
Grayson Allen's been playing well. I'm not going that far.
So this series put Tatum in that room.
Yes.
No.
No, he's
Tatum
been
was
there, but
already there.
He's solidifying it.
Oh.
He's
Bro,
solidifying
he's
it.
first team All NBA this season.
He is.
Oh.
What are we talking about here?
He is.
He's first team
Is that
All
a fact?
NBA.
Is that a fact?
That's it's going to be a
No,
fact.
no. So then don't tell
If
me
he's
that.
not
Don't
first
tell
team
me-
All NBA,
don't
if
tell me
he's not,
that.
he's second team All NBA.
Do you know who's going to miss actually first team All NBA? Embiid.
How so?
Because it's going to be Jokic and going to be Giannis. They're going to play him as a center. He's not going to make it.
They could put two centers up there.
I don't think they're
No.
going to do that.
This is how it goes. Whichever position you get the most votes at is what they count you as.
That's crazy to me. I didn't know one regular season put you in that room. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Bro,
that.
but Tatum's been
I didn't
average.
know.
Bro, he's
Giannis
been,
just won a chip. Different type of beast.
But we're
LeBron
saying,
is
okay,
LeBron.
Giannis is
so I
the
don't gotta
best player.
acknowledge that.
Giannis is
Kevin
the best
Durant-
player in the NBA.
What, I'm talking about that room, bro. That room is full of God. Jokic is about to go back to back.
I'm telling you, there's a couple tiers.
Jokic
You
has
have-
Jokic has never made the finals though.
Neither has Tatum.
Tatum has made more Eastern Conference Finals
All
than
right.
Jokic has
I'm
Western
gonna
Conference
I'm gonna
Finals.
purposely leave LeBron.
Okay.
I'm just saying I know Jokic is better, but let's not act like Tatum's not here, bro. He's here.
But come on,
He's here.
Come on,
I'm gonna-
don't do that.
I'm
Tatum is here.
I'm gonna leave.
He's coming.
I'm gonna
No,
leave
he's
LeBron out of this
here.
conversation
Why?
out of just respect purposes.
Put LeBron
because-
in that room. He's
Okay,
top
so,
one.
all right,
He's in
so
that
you
room.
have Giannis, you have LeBron. I will put KD in that room.
No.
Relentlessly.
Hold on, dude. Hold up. The thing that I don't understand about you is
You're not gonna put LeBron in that room.
no. I am, but look, I didn't even acknowledge what you just said. I apologize because I'm just kind of stuck here. Jayson Tatum or Kawhi Leonard? Who's better?
Kawhi Leonard.
Jayson Tatum's better.
Kawhi Leonard.
Jayson Tatum's better.
I hate when people do
Jayson
that. This is
Tatum's
what
better.
you guys do. And
right now, he's going to be better. He's going to be better, bro.
This is what you
like
did.
He's already surpassed him.
No. This is what
Kawhi's going to come back. He's not going to be as good as Tatum.
This is what people did with Steph Curry. Steph Curry missed a full year, and people were pushing Dame over him. No. Kawhi is just as good as Steph.
No, he's not.
Were people really pushing Dame?
No, yes, people were pushing. What does Tatum do better? There's literally nothing on the court.
His offense is better than Kawhi's.
No, it's not.
Yes, he is.
No, it's not.
He has a bigger bag, and he's a little bit.
Oh, you're a bag guy. Okay, so
consistent.
Kyrie's better offense than Tatum, right?
That's not true.
Because he has a bigger bag, right? Right? That's what you said.
All right.
That's what you said.
We're
Who's
talking
more efficient?
offensive.
Kawhi.
Who's a better passer?
Who's more efficient? Kawhi. Who's a better mid-range shooter? Kawhi.
That's debatable.
What the?
That's debatable.
What?
That's debatable.
You hate.
I'm not. I don't. That's not true. I'm speaking very on. No,
who's a better mid-range shooter, Kawhi or Jayson?
It's a conversation.
It's not a conversation.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Kawhi's one of the best mid-range shooters in the game.
Better 3-point shooter, Jayson Tatum. Better passer, Jayson Tatum.
Better defender, Kawhi Leonard, by far.
At this point in time, it's a conversation.
How's it a conversation? You haven't even seen him play. You have to go with what you've seen.
Exactly.
You have to go with what you've seen. And what you've seen is Kawhi clears.
Jayson Tatum lock up Kevin Durant that no one has done before.
Huh?
Jayson Tatum.
Tony Allen has done it. Ron Artest has done it. Kawhi has done it before. Kawhi has done it before. Stop acting like Kawhi's never done this stuff. Kawhi has locked up.
He is not.
Kawhi has locked up Kevin Durant before. Kawhi has locked up LeBron James before.
Look, whatever you're saying, this is my reasoning.
Because you're not living in 2022.
No. This is
He just played last year.
In 2021,
Kawhi was putting up Shaq efficiency in the playoffs. How many people have done that? Answer that question.
Not many.
With jump shots.
Not many.
So what are you talking about? Kawhi was putting up Shaq level efficiency. Hold on, I gotta say that Kawhi was putting up Shaq level efficiency in the playoffs. Do you know what that means,
That's
bro?
amazing.
I don't think you understand what that really means, bro. Of jump shots, bro. Please don't forget who Kawhi Leonard is. I understand Tatum is on his way. I get it. He's a top 10 player. Fact. I'm not disagreeing with y'all there. But I think y'all are forgetting who Kawhi Leonard is, and that's weird to me. Just because he got hurt doesn't mean you can propel somebody else over him. Because even Tatum's this year and last year wasn't better than Kawhi's last year. So don't stop forgetting who that guy was, bro.
Tatum was better than him.
You didn't even know he's putting up Shaq efficiency.
I did know that.
What's Tatum's efficiency?
Probably in the 40s.
Say what you got to say.
Look,
Shaq efficiency.
If you're going off of the past,
last year,
you have a case. You have an
literally
argument.
just happened last year.
Like, Kawhi just missed an entire season,
Kawhi
bro.
act like he's been hurt for 3 years. No, he missed one season, bro.
Bro,
it's one season.
In the past 4 years, he's been out for 2 of those.
What you talking about?
San Antonio missed an entire year.
That was like 5 years ago.
2018. That was 4 years
2022. Ago. Okay, it's 4 years. 4
years. So then after that's exactly what I said, though.
After that, what did he do?
Hold up.
What did he do after that?
I know what he did. I know what he did.
Okay.
Because KD was injured, to be fair. That's a fact. That's a fact. Hold up. This is what I'm saying. Fair. This is my point. The reason why I have Tatum and why I would prefer Tatum over Kawhi is because right now, yes, Kawhi has the resume over Tatum. There's no doubt about it. But Kawhi Leonard is somebody who is turning 31 in June. He just tore his ACL, missed an entire year, or Jayson Tatum might lead his team to the finals this year.
New medicine. We see guys come back. That doesn't matter anymore,
Jason Tatum is hitting his prime right now. Kawhi's falling out of it. That's why I'm taking Tatum. That's why I'm taking Tatum.
You talk about Kawhi's falling out of his prime. You haven't even seen it happen. You're just assuming.
No, assuming off of the age players usually get off their prime. 31 years old.
Harden, KD. Not
KD
that
just
KD
coming off of
the
Stop.
Why?
You take Kawhi over KD?
No, hell no. But you wouldn't take Tatum over KD unless you're crazy.
I don't know. He just outplayed him.
So
he locked him down.
So wait. I love this. So you just gave Trae Young a pass for playing like shit. But yet KD.
Wait, what's the pass I'm giving Trae Young though?
You just said we're overreacting to Trae Young playing like shit. Mm-hmm. But yet you're saying since Tatum outplayed him, which was amazing, nobody's denying that. But since he outplayed him in one series,
no, he locked him up too though.
Yeah.
Like we
he's better.
saw a matchup.
So he's better than Kevin Durant.
Look, I'm not going as far to say that, but I think he's better than Kawhi. And if you're telling me, look, you can pick between Tatum, KD, Kawhi
for a series.
I'm going Tatum
for a playoff series. You're taking Tatum.
No, I'm just like for future references.
Because he's younger. Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because he's about to hit his prime while these other two are falling out.
But who's a better basketball player, Kawhi?
And I will tell you this right now, straight faced. Outside of Giannis, I am taking Tatum over everyone.
You're just saying that to push your dumbass Boston agenda, because that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, that's crazy.
you wouldn't take Tatum over the Joker.
You're taking Tatum over Steph?
In terms of two-way players.
You wouldn't take Tatum over Steph.
Let me
rephrase. Listen, like I'm saying, yes, I would take Tatum.
This is what I'm talking about.
No, okay.
Recency bias
bro,
it's
different.
Listen, the
Kawhi's
thing
different,
is that you're overlooking is that his defense is elite.
No, I think you're overlooking how great these other players are. I think you really are.
The fact that he can still give you 28 and still be this elite defender is only seen by Giannis and your boy Kawhi. That's it.
So was you taking Kawhi over Steph?
No. Probably not.
So why are you taking Tatum over Steph?
Last season,
the year before that, you wasn't doing it.
I could have argued taking
No,
Kawhi.
would you doing it? Because you love two ways. You're a two-way guy. You just said no.
I'm saying I would.
Recency bias is insane. I can't make it up.
He just swept Kevin Durant. He made Kevin Durant look like he was nowhere near his level.
Yeah, I know. Let's wait till the end of the playoffs. Because when Steph has a ring, I want to see if you're going to say the same thing.
Okay, Steph has a great team around him, and even still, I don't see it happening.
Tatum has a great team around him, to be fair.
Oh, he has an unbelievable team around him.
Yeah. But you see Boston doing it.
What are we talking about?
You see Boston winning, but not.
I do see the Boston winning the entire.
You see your agendas?
It's not an agenda. I'm just being consistent. If you want to call it an agenda to try and minimize it, fine. But I'm just telling you my honest opinion.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting. I can't wait till Kawhi comes back next year. I just can't wait. He's going to literally.
Yeah, maybe your Clippers will actually do something.
I mean, he's going to be the same guy.
This is what I'm going to tell you.
You're just saying he's going to be better because of health. Kawhi's health is going to
not even just because of health. Because I said in the offseason that this is the year Tatum takes that true superstar leap.
He's a superstar.
Which he has taken that leap already. Finished top 5 or top 6, I don't know, in MVP voting. Next year, I am willing to bet money that Tatum finishes over Kawhi on the MVP ladder.
He probably will. That doesn't mean he's going to be better. Devin Booker finished over Steph. Is Devin Booker better than Steph?
Because we know Steph was hurt, though.
Okay.
Well, if they're both relatively healthy and
Devin Booker finished over Luka. You wouldn't put Devin over Luka?
We know that's seeding.
No. Don't try to fix what you're saying now. That's what you said. You said because he's going to finish it over in the MVP race, so he's better. Okay, Devin Booker finished 5, bro.
Should the Clippers with their roster, PG and Kawhi coming back, not be a top 3 seed in the West next year?
Yes.
Okay, so that means that Kawhi should finish as a top 10 MVP candidate.
He will finish as a top 10.
Or top 5. I would say if they're a top 3 seed, maybe top 5.
Depends.
And off narrative,
he got to finish off the top 5.
He missed the whole season.
I don't think he has to. He doesn't. He's going to have a great regular season, and the playoffs is going to be the separator.
Okay.
Superstars in the regular season, this is just they know what they are. It's the playoffs that's the separator. That's what I'm telling you. So regular season, it's going to be similar. Tatum's probably going to be a little better.
I am banking on Tatum for the next 4 or 5 years being far better than Kawhi in the next 4 or 5 years.
I can live with that. 4 or 5.
That's what I'm doing.
I can live with that 4 or 5.
I would even go to say by next 2 to 3, it's going to be Tatum's going to be the better player.
Next year, Kawhi will be better.
Okay, we'll see.
This is the starting of Jayson Tatum's ascension to being
next year. Kawhi will be literally the same robot. Yeah, no, he'll be better.
Okay,
because talking about so wait, if you have Kawhi, if Tatum is 9, where's Kawhi?
Right behind him.
So he's 10.
I mean,
Tatum's 9.
Tatum, look, let me get rankings list. I keep pulling it up and not like getting it over with. Okay. Giannis 1, Jokic 2, Steph is 3, Embiid is 4, LeBron 5, 6 is Luka, 7 is Tatum, 8 is KD, 9 is Kawhi, 10 is PG. That's my list.
So Kawhi is the 9th best basketball player, and Kevin Durant is 8th.
You would take Kawhi over Luka?
Luka is a different. No,
let me. Okay, so
no, I wouldn't.
So the players I have over him, outside I guess of Embiid,
I would probably drop Embiid, but that's
okay. Yeah,
I'm dropping Embiid.
Outside of Embiid, all these players. So with KD, Giannis, Jokic, Curry, LeBron, Luka. KD.
I like where Luka is.
So you're saying
I would drop Embiid.
So you're saying you are overreacting to Kawhi being 9, but in your list he'd be 7.
No, listen, I'm gonna flip.
Tatum is already fringe 5 from what
I would flip. Where you had Embiid? 4, right? I would flip him and Kevin Durant. Where's 5?
LeBron.
I would have Luka ahead of LeBron. Kawhi at 7.
So 2 spots is why you're throwing
and you're taking KD over LeBron?
I'll probably flip them then.
I'll probably flip them. Yeah, agreed.
Probably flip. The 5, that's hard to number, but I would probably flip them. So
okay. Before we go on to the next segment, a quick word from DraftKings. The NBA playoffs means next level basketball. Get in on the first round action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. You win no matter what. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can bet also during the first round with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Plus, place a same-game parlay each day with 3 or more legs and get up to $25 in free bets back if one leg doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the first round of the playoffs and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code TBPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Perfect segue on to the next topic. Well, actually, this week in the NBA first. And this week in the NBA, Zach Lowe said on his podcast or somewhere where he said, I read it on Twitter, that teams are already looking to tie in salary to the percentage of games played in some form of capacity. And this is interesting because that means less guaranteed money for players. And if that happens, I think there is potential for a big NBA lockout looming if that is the case. That was my This Week in the NBA. Also, Charles Barkley calling KD a bus rider. KD clapped back with the big three.
Mid clap back.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a make sense clap back.
They made the conference finals.
Yeah, but Barkley was like out of his
He was
prime.
35.
Yeah.
Technically,
one of them was his rookie year.
Technically,
Pippen was 33. He was 35, and I think Elijah was 36.
KD is too, though. He's 33. He's kind of out of his prime too.
Sixers, he was a rookie though.
Yeah,
he got drafted.
But the big thing is that Barkley called KD a bus rider, but I mean he averaged 35, so I don't know how you can be a bus rider. I understand he definitely rode on the wave of the Warriors, but
what do you mean he's not a bus rider?
I think it was right message, wrong message.
35 points in the finals, 8th player ever to do that.
I feel like Shaq should have said it.
You can be great and still be a bus rider because that's exactly what he was.
He averaged 35 though.
Okay, I'm acknowledging he played well.
Was LeBron not D-Wade's bus rider in a sense, coming to his town?
No, he was not.
I think people were taking it like it's disrespect.
The thing, I think it is disrespectful because, I mean,
Chuck meant it as disrespect.
The Warriors, I mean, regardless of what you want to say about KD, yes, the Warriors were the best regular season team
of all time.
I mean, were they going to win 2 championships after that season if KD does not go there?
Who knows?
I mean,
they were going to keep beating Kevin Durant.
What are the odds?
They were going to keep beating Kevin Durant. I'll tell you that. They were going to keep beating him.
In my opinion, listen, I agree with that. If he doesn't go to the Warriors, I think LeBron can run it back to back.
LeBron could also 100%. Lose though.
I guess fine.
I mean, if you're going to play the maybe card.
Yeah, no, and listen. That being said, LeBron 2016 beats that Warriors team. We don't get a true trilogy because Kevin Durant comes in and spoils that.
Trilogy would have been lit.
It would have been awesome.
I just know if he doesn't go there, Kevin Durant doesn't go to the finals. In my opinion.
Easily.
I don't think that team was going to, especially after they just blew 3-1, they weren't going to beat them after that.
No.
But
maybe they come back hungry. Maybe because KD was amazing.
I feel like Shaq should have said that.
But why? Why can't Chuck say that? Because he hasn't won?
Because Chuck, it's just it's hard for him to because I know he probably didn't mean it in a disrespectful way, but I feel like sometimes certain guys can't say because Charles, you was just raving about Kevin. It was a video that came out that Charles, you was calling Kevin Durant the best player in the league when he won the champs with Golden State. So you were not only talking about, you were literally on his body when he was riding the bus. So you can't kind of play it both ways.
I think he was expecting him to continue to be successful afterwards.
I think the comment stems from Charles Barkley being a bit jealous because he never won a championship. And he's like, okay, I never won a championship because I stuck with Phoenix. Although he tried to go to Houston and win one, he ultimately didn't win one. And if you look at reports from that Houston time, Scottie Pippen called Barkley somebody who didn't take the game seriously. He was criticized for the shape he was in at the time. But Barkley's probably like, you know what? I'm not going to praise KD for winning these championships because he never did it as the main man on a team. I at least tried to attempt to and failed, and I'm going to live with it. But I didn't do what KD did and then chase the ring. So that's why I feel like there's some form of jealousy there. But even if like we talk about KD leaving to Golden State, take the Golden State years out. KD is still far above Barkley in terms of legacy and what we're talking about.
Obviously,
I know, but that's what I'm saying. So that's why I don't think I think it was a bit of a low blow at KD.
I think that's what he's saying though, because if you take away the Warriors ring, they both made it to the finals.
Yeah,
one time.
Yep,
they're both MVPs.
And I don't think he was trying to make it like I'm better than Kevin Durant. I think he's just being an analyst and saying
terrible at that.
What fair? Yeah, for sure. But in the sense of what is Kevin Durant really who everyone perceives him to be?
He is
since he can't get it done after leaving Golden State. That's essentially what he was saying. And listen, hasn't been able to do it.
It's been 4 years since it happened. I think people need to forget it.
No, it's a weak move. That was him going.
No, it is a weak move. But like people keep
forgotten.
going back and talk about he's this, he's that. We know what he is.
The thing is, I've been very adamant. If you want a championship with the Nets, what can I say? I can't say anything. You got to give him his props. I can tell you that
he's a top 12 player ever.
If he doesn't win with the Nets, does his legacy take a hit? Like I'm taking Steph Curry all time over him if he doesn't win a championship post Golden State.
That's Steph though.
That's good and all, but you ain't taking 15 guys. If his legacy, if he keeps losing, you ain't taking 15 guys over Kevin Durant.
Agreed.
Ever, so.
Agreed.
That's Steph though.
Okay.
Steph is you know how much I love Steph.
Oh God.
Next topic.
You guys didn't have this week in the NBA?
Bro, you told us that you had our this week in the NBA.
No, I got one.
Last week, y'all just said that you're going to start.
Yeah, but then you said I got this week in the NBA figured out.
When did I say that?
Did you say that?
He
said that?
Maybe I'm delusional. But go ahead.
Boy, tired.
You don't have to give yours. Don't worry.
It's all right. I'll figure
you.
it out. Nah.
That's okay, bro. I got one. I think one we'll both love.
Right,
Zach LaVine's getting surgery this summer.
I don't know if I love that.
Well, I love it because he's been hurt all year. He said his knee has been 50% on good days, so that means on bad days, my goodness, I don't even know what that looks like. But he's been dealing with injuries in his stomach, his hands, his knees all year. So you could tell about his different production that his injuries have been affecting him, but he didn't really complain too much. He continued to play. So Zach is officially going to get that knee surgery. We got stomped out tonight. But hopefully we can get a better Zach next year. So
all right, my this week in the NBA is going to be that that Devin Booker is going to be returning back to the lineup for the Phoenix Suns. Now, I don't personally love this. I feel as if they can win the series without Devin Booker. Of course, you would love to have him back, but in my opinion, you should rest Devin Booker. God forbid he re-aggravates the hamstring injury. Your title chances are completely shot. Without Devin Booker, you're not winning a championship. I think you should rest him. I think that this team is more than good enough to get past the Pelicans. We saw it last night. They were on full display clicking. Mikal Bridges, shout out to him. He had an excellent performance
he hasn't missed
last
a game.
Mikal Bridges.
In the league.
Look,
he is a savage.
The reason why I disagree with you is because
in the sense of sitting Devin Booker,
if he can play Game 6
he should not.
You have to close out the Pelicans.
In my opinion,
you can't let this go to 7. Anything can happen in 7.
Hamstring injuries
Dallas is coming.
Are nagging.
Yeah.
And God
Dallas
forbid.
Is coming.
Exactly why you should sit him. Because you want him fully ready to play the Mavs or the Jazz.
If they win.
Now, I mentioned this earlier, but the Celtics and the Warriors are favorites to be the finals matchup. And before we end off this week in the NBA, we're going to play Would You Rather. Now, initially it was supposed to be De'Aaron Fox, but we went on a tangent and talked about James Harden and where he ranks, that I thought it'd be more fitting for this episode to now do a Would You Rather on James Harden. So, would you rather...
James Harden? Whoa, curveball, okay.
Yeah. Would you rather this player or that player, James Harden edition, CJ McCollum?
CJ McCollum.
Brandon Ingram.
E.I.
Jimmy Butler.
JB.
Desmond Bane.
James Harden.
Desmond Bane.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
Chris Middleton.
James Harden.
Chris Paul.
CP.
Bradley Beal.
Bradley.
James Harden.
Okay. That's a toss-up for real.
Klay Thompson.
Oh, Klay Thompson.
Clay. I can think.
You didn't think
Clay's he's been going crazy.
And now last one I'll throw at you guys.
I need a crazy one. I need something crazy.
Dylan Brooks.
James Harden, bro. Mr. Chuck Shot.
James Harden, but Dylan Brooks has been surprisingly very, very good efficiency-wise shooting the ball. He's been big for them. Yeah, he has been. And defensively, he's been awesome.
What's your answer?
I'm gonna go James Harden, but reluctantly.
What about Jordan Poole?
Jordan Poole.
It's so biased.
100%.
He had a poopy game.
He's so swaggy.
I'm going James Harden.
Drew Holiday.
Drew
Holiday, easy.
It's crazy because I feel like a lot of these are easy, but this isn't similar to the Westbrook one we did because, like, just saying,
we were naming butt names,
saying
not butt. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
You know what I was trying to. That Westbrook one, I missed the name that I wanted to say. I wanted to say Jose Alvarado, and that one.
And
I might have picked Alvarado.
Now stop it.
Why did you? What's your love with Desmond Bain?
What are you talking about?
You picked Desmond over Harden?
Yeah.
I only picked Poole because of straight bias. You mean that?
Yeah, I do mean it.
Okay, that's interesting. No, I'm just asking, just interested. I will have to think about that one.
Okay.
Desmond Bain got to show me a little more.
He's been cooking.
What about Jeremy Grant?
He's arguably been the best player on the Grizzlies,
and they're struggling. That tells you something.
They're still.
It should be, and I don't even like Minnesota. It should be 4-1. Okay, Minnesota's going to the next round.
Now it's 3-2.
Yeah, it should tell you something. Say that name again.
Jeremy Grant.
Oh my God,
James Harden.
I'm trying to look at some names, but it's like it's not the same.
Winning.
How much they winning by?
78-70 going into the fourth.
Who, the Nuggets are winning?
Going back to Denver with Sting.
Listen, I would take that because I said Jokic gets 2. Another one, man.
I did pick Warriors in 6.
No, you pick Warriors in 5.
I picked them in 4. This should be a sweep. I'll be honest.
Teams be playing.
But Jokic, I think it was 4 and 5.
Y'all be playing. The Warriors be playing with their food too much, man.
Yeah, they're not gonna play with Phoenix. They're gonna whip your ass.
I mean, we have to also acknowledge that the Nuggets do this. Like, they come back. That they're a resilient team.
I hope they don't come back. Win 3 straight, bro.
Yo, I would cry.
That shit's gonna blow my mind. We're still gonna dog
walk. This isn't a dog walk if it goes 6.
We'll just dog walk the next 2 series.
There you go. You got to make up, right?
Yeah.
We talked about Jayson Tatum earlier in the show and where he ranked in the NBA. Now we're gonna preview the Bucks versus Celtics second round matchup. Now the season series was 2-2. Last time they faced in the playoffs was in 2018, and Jayson Tatum, alongside Kyrie Irving, didn't have a great series. So for Tatum, at least, this is some revenge. Chris Middleton most likely not playing. We'll see what happens with that. Who wins this matchup? Who wins and why?
No, Chris Middleton's going to be tough. You know, he's their fourth quarter shot maker. You know, he's the guy they give the ball to down the stretch. You know, he makes big plays for them, and he's one of their floor spacers. You know, defensively, he hasn't been good this year, but I think offensively, you know, he's still that guy that can bring it. Their big three is pretty strong, and they play well together. Drew Holiday is still one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. In playoff time, he knows when to turn it up. He's reached that level where he kind of cruises through the regular season. In playoff time, he turns it up. You see what he did to DeMar and Zach LaVine. So, for me, though, Middleton not playing is going to be tough, but I think they showed a bit of resilience. It showed a bit of a different vibe. I think, like, actually, defensively, they're much better without Chris Middleton. And I trust Giannis. You know, offensively, he's got that post fadeaway. He's got that mid-range. He's definitely improved his game. So I'm going to go Bucks.
You don't even mean that in your heart.
I just don't know how many games, because this series is so crazy. I'm just gonna say Bucks. I think the Bucks are gonna win this series.
You have to say game
6 or 7. It's going 6 or 7. I'm gonna take Bucks. You know, I think defensively they've been amazing without Chris Middleton. Giannis is just on a different level. Drew Holiday is gonna be able to negate Jaylen Brown, not Jayson Tatum, but he's going to be able to make it tough. That's a really tough perimeter defender. Wesley Matthews, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, the floor spacers are there. Brook Lopez was hitting threes. Splash Mountain is back. Defensively, this team is different. So
Splash Mountain?
That's what they call it. No, that's literally what they call it.
What's wrong with that?
Splash Mountain, baby.
I haven't heard that.
You're casual.
All right. I don't want to adapt to that. I'm sorry.
You're casual. Yeah, I got Bucks in 6 or 7. Though. I think this would be probably a really great series, but I got Bucks in 6 or 7. Whoever comes out of this is going to the finals. I ain't gonna lie.
No doubt about that. We came into
not if it's the Bucks. Heat will beat them.
Okay.
We came into this playoffs thinking that the Nets and the Celtics were going to be the best.
No, not we. Him.
Who? No, I'm.
He called this. He called that ECF matchup. I didn't.
I thought it was going to be the best. Excuse me. I thought it was going to be the best matchup of the first round. I was wrong. It was definitely, but it was great games all around. But just that wasn't the best series. You both did. Unfortunately,
but you said this is an ECF matchup.
It definitely was.
It wasn't.
It was a 4-game ass whipping.
It definitely was.
Point differential of 17 points over 4 games. It's not ass whipping.
4 games
it was
is
just
4 games.
Nets
Bro,
being
the
incapable of
first
closing.
2 games the Nets didn't close out. The last 2, Celtics definitely
This right here
controlled it.
is an ECF matchup.
Game 4, I wouldn't say necessarily controlled. It was a tie game when Tatum fouls out. The Nets easily could have closed that game. Kevin Durant couldn't. I'll say this in talking about the Bucks versus Celtics. This is going to be an unbelievable matchup. In terms of depth, we're looking at 2 of the most deep teams in the Eastern Conference. Even with all that being said, I lean the Celtics. I'm looking at the way that they've played defensively. They are the best defensive team in the NBA. Marcus Smart, his ability to defend the perimeter, to defend bigs, he has been excellent this whole season. You have Jayson Tatum, who's elevated his defense to an elite level. Jaylen Brown, great defender. Rob Williams is an interesting factor in all this because I think what needs to happen is Rob Will and Al Horford create a wall to try and stop Giannis because Giannis is going to be the reason why the Bucks are going to be in this game. He's obviously the best player in the NBA. It's very hard to stop Giannis, but that wall of Rob Will and Al Horford is essential to the Celtics winning this series. And I think that it will hinder Giannis to a certain degree. Giannis will still get his, but it's going to be enough that is going to allow the Celtics to get over the top. I think offensively, I lean Celtics. They're shot makers outside of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart hits big shots when you need him to. You still have Grant Williams, who was lights out against the Nets, but throughout the entirety of the season has been a 40% three-point shooter. He has been extremely solid. Al Horford played extremely well against the Nets. I'm expecting him to continue to play very well. The Celtics have been clicking since the All-Star break. They have been the best team in basketball, and I expect that to continue. The Bucks have a great team. Giannis is fantastic. Jrue Holiday, like you mentioned, is one of the best, arguably the best perimeter defenders at the guard position, especially defending the guard position. He is second to none. He's unbelievable. But I just look at the Celtics. I think their team chemistry right now is right now the best in the Eastern Conference. I think that they just have everything going for them right now. And Ime Udoka, his adjustments, his ability to draw up a scheme against the team's best player, as we saw in the Nets series, he's already shown great strides as being a solid head coach, and I'm expecting him to draw up great adjustments against Giannis Antetokounmpo. Believe it or not, I'm going Celtics in 5.
Oh, damn.
This series is about role players.
Very, very good assessment.
And I trust the Celtics supporting cast more. I don't think this is a series where they can wall up on Giannis just because the personnel on Milwaukee's side doesn't allow for the Celtics defense to do something like that. You look at the last time Giannis really got walled up on, it was because they had Eric Bledsoe and he couldn't shoot. You look at the Bucks now, they have shooters everywhere, whether it's with a taller lineup with Giannis, Portis, and Lopez, and they can even go small and have Holiday, Matthews, Giannis, and Connaughton out there with the Portis, or maybe even swap them out for another guard there. So I think the Bucks can counter a lot of what the Celtics want to do. I think where the Celtics have the advantage in this series is that they play help. They're always in help position. And that's the way defense is supposed to be played, because if you're in help, you don't have to get in help. If you're already in there, you don't have to get in help. And sometimes does that leave open shooters? It absolutely does. But I think in this case, and with the Boston Celtics specifically, they have a lot of 6'7+ wings who have long wingspans who they can cheat more so than other teams can cheat defensively, because they can recover quicker than other teams because they have the personnel to do so. But like I said, it's about role players, and I trust the Celtics ones. I trust Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, Rob Williams, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White. I trust those guys more over Wesley Matthews, over Bobby Portis, over Pat Connaughton. And I love Bobby Portis, I do, and I love Brook Lopez as well.
They're solid role players. They are.
But I like Boston a little bit more. And what I am kind of cautious about is Boston offensively, because defensively they're a great team. Offensively, they do have their stretches where they're not able to score as great as other teams are on offense. Because of that, I wonder how that's going to happen. Who is Jrue Holiday going to guard? Is it going to be Tatum because he can give him a lot of fits, or do they try to maybe neutralize Jaylen Brown more? I think they probably the matchup will
JT.
probably be
JT.
Holiday on Tatum, which we'll see how Tatum fares in that type of matchup. It's definitely going to be something that's either going to make or break him in terms of where we rank him, because it is against one of the best point of attack defenders in the NBA. This stat is what's making me lean Boston in this series. The Bucks are 14th in defensive rating, and they're one of the best teams at defending the paint. But this has been a flaw in Mike Budenholzer's defensive philosophy since he got to the Bucks team, since he's coached the Bucks, is that they are great at protecting the paint because they give up a lot of threes. And before the All-Star break, the Bucks gave up the most wide open threes with about 20 a game, and teams were converting 34% on those shots, which when you look at it just on a basic view, just on a surface level, it's okay. They're shooting 34%. The Bucks have a good defense against three-point shots. But post All-Star break, teams converted 39% of their threes, which is the most in the NBA. So the Bucks give up the most threes in the NBA against a team like Boston, who has the knockdown shooters to make them pay for it. I feel like that can be a huge swing in the series. Because of that, I have the Celtics. I think they have the length and bodies to match up with somebody like Giannis to at least neutralize as much as you can neutralize them. They have the players who can always be in help position and also recover on their man. This is a 7-game series to me. I think it's Celtics in 7. And I think a lineup we'll see a lot from Milwaukee is I think they'll probably try to match the Boston Celtics size and go a little bit smaller just to space out the floor more. I think we're going to see a lot of Jrue Holiday, Grayson Allen, Wesley Matthews, Pat Connaughton with Giannis at the 5 in this match specifically. But maybe they can go with more size because the Celtics, although they are great defensively, they do lack size. You know, Rob Will is 6'8". He has a large wingspan, but against Lopez, 7 foot, against Bobby Porter, 6'11", against Giannis, 6'11".
Out there.
Yeah, there is. They have a size
be.
advantage. So this is a matchup where I think the Bucks have to maybe use size to their advantage to get the edge, but then you risk guys not closing out as fast as you have a shorter and more agile lineup out there. So I got the Celtics though. I think the Celtics are going to win the series.
And I do have my concerns with Milwaukee's defense. Of course, outside of Jrue Holiday and Giannis, who those two you can count on to be great defensively.
Wesley Matthews is a good defender. Good. I ain't gonna say he's a good defender.
Now, and especially with Middleton not being there, which we've already spoken about. Middleton, yes, his offensive input is definitely going to be missed. But defensively, he's not been what he was in the past. And really, you look at the rest of the Milwaukee supporting cast defensively, they just don't hold a candle to what the Celtics have going on right now. It really is going to depend on that matchup, JT versus Jrue Holiday. If JT is getting his, and even still we saw where JT doesn't necessarily have to be shooting 50% from the field. He can still facilitate to get his boys involved. You still have JB, who you have to be concerned about. And like I already mentioned, their role players are hitting shots. And if they're hitting shots, Celtics got this one easy.
I don't know about easy because I think Milwaukee can hit shots just like Boston. You know, Grayson Allen's a shooter. Pat Connaughton's a shooter. Wesley Matthews is a shooter.
Connaughton just got today, I would say, is Connaughton finally coming back to.
Nah, he was good at home. You know, I
feel like he's been struggling recently.
Bobby Portis is also a shooter. I can't forget about Bobby Portis. Brook Lopez can hit some threes.
So I'm kind of shocked that you have them in 5. Well, I was shocked you had Brooklyn, the Celtics against Brooklyn in 5. But I think that's a bit of a different story. Giannis, to use the best player in the world.
He is.
So you think he's going to lose in 5?
And that's not me saying anything on Giannis's name. I think Giannis is still going to be great. I'm just looking at the Celtics team as a whole. It's their time. And I feel like they have just been consistently dominant since the second half of the season. And I'm going to continue to ride.
Nah, and 5 is crazy.
It's all right. You guys call me crazy for my take against the Nets. I sat here straight face.
First, Phoenix was your team that you're going to ride to the sun. Now it's Boston. It's your team. You feel like it's their time.
You know what? Listen, and I get you calling me out on that. I usually don't flip, and that's fine. But at least I've been consistent since I flipped.
Your Bucks before was your time in the sun.
But again, it was since
usually don't flip. This is your first full season. You talking about you got like a 5-year track record?
I've been on the show for over a year now.
It was just your first full NBA season.
It's like the halfway point hit. I saw what the Celtics were doing.
I usually don't flip, and in the first season, flip.
You
whatever
bought
you
stock.
guys want to say.
I mean, stock early.
And I've been taking that to the moon. I'm looking like I own Amazon right now.
So if Phoenix and Boston meet in the finals, you have.
I'm
Boston.
actually
I'm taking Boston.
Oh, so you're off okay.
But I never had Phoenix winning the chip. I had Milwaukee winning the chip.
Okay.
So Milwaukee goes from winning the chip to losing in 5.
Well, because they're facing the Boston Celtics, who
I thought
are
you would
the
at least
best
give him
team.
more than 5 games.
I was thinking
it's
about
the
it.
best player in the world in your eyes.
No doubt about it. I was
in the eyes of many.
I was thinking about it, and I just look at the dominance on the defensive side of the ball of the Celtics, and still the offensive output that they're able to put forth with their role players on top of JT and JB. I think the Celtics got this one.
So what
easy.
you're telling me is that Giannis isn't going to dominate this series?
No, that's actually not at all what
You don't
I said.
think the Bucks defense could dominate though?
No, personally, no. It really is dependent on JT on Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday
I
on
feel
JT.
like because I think Drew's probably going to start on JB. They're going to probably throw.
I don't think
because that's what they do. I'm just going off what I've seen. They usually they put Drew on the best player towards the back end of the game.
Well, I think what
the third or fourth.
they were expecting was that that Levine was going to be more offensive dominant, and then it really ended up being DeMar.
Not really, because in the regular season they did the same thing.
But then once they realized that, they immediately switched Drew onto DeMar.
I think Matthews will start. You want to save your best defender for the right moment. So I think Matthews would probably start on JT. Drew will probably start on JB. He's going to have to guard either one of them.
And the difference is, as opposed from the Bulls to the Celtics, is the Celtics are healthy. JB and Levine right now, Levine has been hindered almost all season. Yeah. JB's been getting it going.
Drew will be fine.
He'll definitely play well, but I'm not expecting him to halt JT to the point where it's affecting his game as a whole.
I think he'll affect his game a little bit. It's Drew Holiday we talking about.
He'll impact it a little bit, but not to the point where I still don't see the Celtics winning the series easily.
You just seen Drew for the most part lock up DeMar
and Zach.
He won't do that to Jaylen Brown.
Jayson Tatum's a better offensive player than the two of them.
I'm talking about Jaylen Brown. I think he'll completely take Jaylen Brown out the series if he stays with him the whole time.
We're talking about Jayson Tatum right here because I believe that Drew Holiday is going to play defense on Jayson Tatum for a majority of the series.
If you think if Drew Holiday takes out Jaylen Brown, they can win in 5 still?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
Oh, my God.
I don't know because I just like
because then you're really putting JT on who? Wes Matthews? Is that what you really want?
No, I'm saying I think they would rather lock JT. Not saying he will get locked, but they'd rather lock JT and let everybody else beat them.
That's my point. So you're gonna have Drew
That's
Holiday.
Not 5 games.
You're gonna have Drew Holiday with JT. Correct. He's mentioning JB now.
That's fine.
That's
not 5 games.
Do you want Drew Holiday on JB? Or do you want him on JT?
JT.
That is exactly.
But
what
I'm just telling you what they would do.
I just think it's crazy if you think Giannis is really the best player in the world.
Yeah.
With the Bucks are a good team. Like it's not like they're the Nets. They are a great team.
They're a really good team. I'm just looking at the Celtics. I think they're
like
better.
they are the team that if not for Boston, you'd have them winning the final or going to the finals, right?
Yeah.
So how many games would you have Boston beating Phoenix?
Hold on.
Phoenix would be 5.
Hypothetically,
he thinks the Celtics beat everybody in 5.
If the Bucks meet the Warriors in the finals, you have the Bucks in that series.
The Bucks and the Warriors, I would take the Bucks.
So a team that can beat the Warriors in
the Celtics are that good.
You have
you're just going crazy.
I'm just being honest.
5 games. I don't mind you picking them, but I think 5 games is like underselling.
That's
Giannis
disrespectful.
in the box.
I'll be honest.
Again, you guys.
That's very disrespectul.
You guys gave
they just
me,
won a championship, bro.
Respect to them. You guys gave me shit for what I said with the Nets. You guys picked the Nets. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna trust my word.
But you think differently of KD. You think highly of Giannis.
Exactly.
Is what we're saying.
Which is why we should even feel that I am being very sincere when I say.
I just think you're being a little disrespectful. I think he's at worst 2 games.
I think because you got the Celtics Nets series right, and
then you're talking about they'll beat Phoenix in 5.
I do think so.
Everybody in 5, I'm assuming. So how many games would the Warriors beat? Boston and the Warriors.
Oh no, Boston and the Warriors would probably be 7.
So the Bucks can beat them.
Yeah,
you have Boston versus 7.
We said the Suns. You said the Suns series versus.
No, I'm saying Boston and the Warriors.
Boston and the Warriors.
7.
Yeah, 7.
But
Milwaukee
Boston and Celtics 5.
No, sorry,
Bucks and Celtics 5. But you think the Bucks can beat the Warriors?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
It's matchup issues.
I respect it. I can dig it.
I think because
and it's the finals also. It's different vibes.
I think because you picked the Celtics over the Nets in the first round and you made them in 5 and it ended up being a sweep. You are kind of like
he putting the hat on,
expecting us to just give you the benefit of the doubt with this take.
Listen,
he's putting the hat on.
Don't give me the benefit of the doubt.
I just feel like saying they're gonna beat Milwaukee in 5 is like
it's all right.
You're guessing.
Is like bad analysis.
I'm not guessing.
It's like a guess that if it turns out right, you're gonna look like a genius.
I mean,
but
essentially,
it's like crazy.
every time you project, it's a guess, right?
No, but I
guess
think
we're
this
all
one is
guessing.
like you're just saying. You know,
You
what?
said like
I'm gonna
this
say
is,
it and
these are the
hopefully
defending
but
champions.
I've given very valid points to what I believe.
You're putting the full Boston hat on. I respect it.
It's not like I'm coming here just saying Boston in 5.
So
all right,
if they
I'm
play
outta here.
Miami 5 games again,
Oh yeah, no, that definitely could be
a sweep.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh yeah, okay. He's putting the full Boston hat on. I love it. Okay, yeah. I love it. I love that energy. So when the Bucks win, I'm gonna L you for 5 days straight.
So you have the Bucks in
shake
what?
your hand.
I have the Bucks in 6 or 7.
Yeah,
I need.
Celtics in 7.
Can we pick one?
Okay, I'll say Bucks at home. They'll win at home in 6.
6. Okay.
Yeah, I got Celtics in 7.
I think this is a 6-7 game series. You know, I don't know. Giannis is a different man. Like
he's a beast. He's amazing.
You know what's gonna happen if they go down 0-2?
He's gonna go crazy.
Giannis is gonna go crazy.
Yeah,
he's not getting sweat, bro.
No, which is I don't
Or
know
losing
where
in 5.
I don't know where this idea came from that I think that Giannis is going to be bad. I said it very
if
clearly.
he loses in 5,
that doesn't mean that he played bad.
There has to be a few games where he plays like shit.
I'll just be honest. It's just for me. It's hard for me to think of any scenario.
I don't think any team could beat the Bucks.
It's not. It's not even that. It's like I just can't come up with any scenario where Giannis is dominant and is Giannis. They lose in 5, bro.
Because the rest of these guys I can't trust fully.
Like if you were
Celtics
telling me
defensively.
Giannis is averaging 30 and 12,
it's 6 games here. They can lose.
I just don't see how they lose in 5.
I don't see any team
if
at
he's
their
that
best.
dominant.
So you can see them
in
losing
5.
in 6, but you can't see them losing in 5.
I just don't think any team at their best is beating the Bucks in 5 games.
I'm telling you, Boston is like that.
We'll see. I mean, they're a better defensive team than Brooklyn.
Correct, significantly.
So we'll see.
Oh, I'm saying you're saying
Boston, Bucks. I'm saying Bucks.
And you mentioned that, and you mentioned how Nets have a lot of flaws on their team, and you talked about the point deficit,
Sure.
and every game was close for the most part. The Bucks they're not gonna make those same petty little mistakes
bro.
as
For sure.
them.
Experience, man. We'll see. I can't wait. This is gonna be a good.
It's gonna be a great series. Every game's gonna be great.
So on to the Western Conference, Mavericks versus Suns. The Mavs haven't advanced yet, but we're under the assumption they probably will beat Utah.
I know,
Utah have the Jazz.
that's another thing. Like that series really could go 7.
Nobody cares about that series.
It can go 7, but I would still pick Luka.
I would pick
okay.
Luka as well.
Suns versus Mavs or Jazz. Maybe the Pelicans sneak into here. They win it too, but
no way.
If we're losing,
I'm gonna give this analysis based off of the Suns winning, facing the Mavericks. If they face the Mavericks, I mean, it has been very lopsided the past 2-3 years. The Suns have won 9 games in a row against the Mavericks.
Damn.
This year, they're 0-3, but Luka missed 2 of those games. It's as simple as this. If the Suns are without Devin Booker, they lose this series. I think Luka now advances to Western Conference Finals. I actually think, Warriors in the conference finals versus the Mavericks gives me 2015 WCF vibes when the Warriors faced James Harden in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah. I think Warriors would beat the Mavericks fairly easy in the conference finals, probably 5 games. But if D-Book doesn't play, yep, I have the Mavs in this one. But D-Book plays, I think the Suns, they showed it all year. They're the best team in the West. They are disciplined defensively. Role players step up at the right time. Mikal Bridges having a 30-point game. That was fantastic. The thing with the Mavericks is going to be interesting to see is that I think they have the perfect combination of ball handlers and guards that attack the basket, and it opens up a lot of the floor for shooters to now knock down wide open shots. And they have versatile defenders. You look at Maxi Kleber, Dorian Finney-Smith, who I think he's been one of the more underrated players in the league for a while. Versus the Jazz, he's contested 93 shots, second behind Embiid in these playoffs, and opponents are shooting just below 40% against him. He's played some great defense on Donovan Mitchell, especially down the stretch. Mavericks right now, from the 3, shooting 36%. They're shooting very well. I just kind of don't know how the Mavericks sustain this level of three-point efficiency versus the Suns. We see it versus the Jazz because the Jazz have given up so many wide-open threes per game.
No perimeter defenders.
But you look at Bullock, he's shooting 41% from 3, Kleber 55%, Dorian Finney-Smith 38%. I just see these percentages dropping down. I think Mikal Bridges, he has done as good of a job on Luka as anybody these past couple of years. Whenever they match up, that's like the highlight, Mikal's defense on Luka. Luka will still get his, there's no doubt. And I also think that Brunson has come onto the scene. but he really flourished because Luka wasn't in the lineup. When you have three guards that thrive on handling the ball and that's how they generate their offense and their playmaking, Luka doesn't add on to what Brunson does. He replaces it and does it better. So Luka now handling the ball more now kind of negates how valuable Brunson can be, and it also negates how valuable Dinwiddie can be. Not saying they can't have huge impact, but just Luka having the ball that much, their play styles are similar. It just cancels each other out. With Devin Booker, I trust the Suns' shot creating ability, but without him, I think in the series versus the Pelicans, it's been very apparent that they need another shot creator. And that's why all season long I was yelling at the top of my lungs, trade for Eric Gordon. Trade for a player who can generate offense, who can't just score off of pin downs or screens, who can just create for themselves. I feel like the Suns are missing that. I think it'll haunt them later on in the playoffs. But in this series, I think they can get by. But they do need Devin Booker for this one. If not, I think they'll lose.
Piggyback a little bit off what you said. I personally love the 3-guard dynamic. I think they have the right combination of patience, the right combination of pace. I like the way Jalen Brunson moves. I like the way Luka moves. Luka's kind of like that slow guard. Brunson's kind of that break you down, and Spencer's right at the attack. I like the way they definitely balance off each other. Like you said, shout out to Donovan Mitchell. He preached Dorian Finney-Smith's defense. He said he's been as good as anybody has been against him, and that's fact. Nobody's ever seen Donovan Mitchell play like this, and Dorian Finney-Smith has been incredible. The 3-point Dallas is weird. They always hit at a ridiculous rate. You look at last year against the Clippers, the first 4 games, they were hitting at a record rate from the 3-point line. They looked amazing. Right now, they look great defensively. They're always on go. It's just tough because, like you said, Utah doesn't really guard, so it's really hard to analyze oh my God, Bullock's 3-point percentage, Finney's 3-point percentage right now. Brunson's amazing performance. He's been great, but Utah doesn't guard. Phoenix does. So Phoenix is a great defensive team, a great offensive team. So it's going to be a different energy, but they're going to need Brunson to step up. Dinwiddie step up will continue the pace of what they're doing. But sure, I like this matchup. I think this could be an elite series. This could be the series that puts Luka up more in that upper room. Definitely put his name out there. I know he didn't play much in this series, and people were kind of laughing at Utah, he got out the first round, but this is Utah. I think this next one can really, 60-win team. Phoenix, they do need Devin. They need Booker back for this series, no doubt. But I think Dallas could possibly sneak this one out. I'm going to take Suns in 7. I think this is a 7-game series for her. I think Luka is that great. I think he just took the Clippers to 7. I think he can definitely take Phoenix to 7. I think he has had more help this year than he's had the past 2 years. Although he doesn't have another star, he has Brunson, he has Dinwiddie. Dwight Powell's been amazing. He has the defenders. So I think he's been good defensively too. So they don't, Jalen Brunson, he's small, but he tries here and there, you know what I'm saying? So I think this would be a 7-game series, but I got the Suns.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. I'm looking at the Suns, and yes, they 100% need Devin Booker. I think that I'm looking at the Mavs team, and for them to take 2 out of the 3 games without Luka Doncic speaks to the depth that they have and the chemistry that they've played with all season. To step up in that absence without their best player and to have Jalen Brunson step up the way that he has is credit to what the Mavs have done all season long. I do think they close it out this next game. And for the matchup between the Suns, this will be a 7-game series because of Luka Doncic and how special he is and his impact to the team. This team defensively is completely different as opposed I'm assuming the Warriors are lit.
We're about 4 in a minute. You're discussing right now.
You're just too much. But I'm looking at this Suns team defensively, and I think that's where I'm giving them the edge. Yes, defensively, the Mavs have been great all season long, but I think defensively, the Suns do edge them out a little bit just because of the depth. So long as Devin Booker is healthy and he is playing for the Suns, I do lean the Suns solely for the fact that they just have a little bit more depth than the Mavericks.
You know what? In the midst of you guys talking, and especially what you talked about with Kawhi and PG, and how Luka took them to 7, and how that same Clippers team without Kawhi took the Suns to 6, potentially 7. Changing my pick. I have the Mavericks in this series.
So in the midst of just us having a conversation,
he literally just flipped.
Just thinking about it,
minutes.
look, I think this is Luka's time. And all these thoughts started to come to me, and the thoughts were, okay, Devin Booker has a hamstring injury. I mean, that, regardless of what, how healthy or not he is, it's going to linger on. We just seen Dorian Finney-Smith neutralize Donovan Mitchell. Can he not guard D Book a similar way? He definitely can. I don't trust the shot creators on Phoenix. I don't trust Mikal having a 30-point explosion. I don't trust Cam Johnson having 20-point explosions. I don't trust DeAndre Ayton consistently doing what he does, even though I love Ayton, but it just feels like the Suns are missing something. Luka Doncic is a superstar.
Yep.
This is the series that can solidify him, not getting out the first round for the first 2 years in the playoffs, now making the WCF. Look, I think we talk about Tatum's time. I think this is Luka's time to make the Western Conference Finals. I don't trust Phoenix's health. We never know when Chris Paul is going to go down.
He looks gassed anyways.
We've seen
he needs Devin.
We've seen the bad luck that they've had throughout the course of, Chris Paul has had throughout the course of playoffs in general.
In his career, for sure.
And it's just Luka. Like, you guys just talking about Luka is what's changing my mind. And Dorian Finney-Smith, I trust him with the best of them. And defensively, I do. I think this is Mavericks in 7.
I think
it's Mavs in 7.
The difference with Donovan and Booker is Booker has so much that you can create for him on offense, where he can get you in the elbow, he can ISO you, he can get you down or pin down. Like, he can do so much as a form to Donovan Mitchell. He's kind of like not a one. I don't want to say directly one-way scorer, but he's limited in terms of Devin Booker. And he's 6'6".
Devin's post play and his ability to play make is what makes it a little bit different.
You know what I'm saying? The hamstring will be tough though.
It's just Luka.
Luka different.
Just Luka's averages the most points per game in the playoffs amongst anybody. Small sample size, but
yes, it's MJ.
He cooked Kawhi. He cooked PG. It doesn't matter who you put in front of him.
But in the fourth quarter, when you needed Kawhi to clamp up, he did.
Well, that's because Luka.
57% from the field.
Yeah,
is nuts.
I tried to explain that to you.
I didn't think it was 57. I knew it was in the 50s. 57 is crazy.
Well, at one point it was at 61.
Luka in the series versus the Clippers gassed out later in the game.
He did.
Every game.
But now he has that help. Now he has Brunson. Now he has Dinwiddie. I feel like that's a difference. And
imagine that's the help you're giving him. No disrespect to these guys, but I'm just saying, like, you see the number twos that these guys play with outside of the Mavericks.
We want Minnesota.
And credit to Brunson, but man, Luka's doing a lot with less. No, Brunson without a doubt gets his credit. But to mention Dinwiddie as his number 3 hurts.
Utah's extremely bad perimeter defense.
Horrible defensively.
A little bit of both.
Horrible defensively.
It's both. I think Brunson.
It's both for sure, but
I think Brunson's going to give Phoenix the business too.
I don't think he was 28 a game.
I think he gives him 20 though.
Yeah, 20. I think 20 is a firm number.
I think Luka will give him 30.
Yeah.
Brunson gives him 20.
Mikal is going to be on.
Mikal's
a
tough defender, but
even if Mikal,
he's been struggling with Brandon Ingram. Like, he's been struggling with Brandon Ingram.
I'm going with the Mavs. Luka's my guy. I'm going with the Mavs.
I wouldn't be surprised if they win. I wouldn't. Like, Mavs are a tough team. I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, Mavs are a extremely tough team. I'd be surprised if they beat us, but the Suns, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat.
It's Luka. You got to give Luka his credit. I would be kind of surprised if the Suns lost.
Yeah,
and we did all this analysis, but let's say the Jazz come out. I have the Suns beating the Jazz.
Oh, easily. Close our eyes and make that pick. Listen. If the Jazz beat the Mavs.
I think the Jazz will win Game 6, get blown the fuck out Game 7. I'm so pissed I'm so done with them.
Honestly, I think you as a fan of Donovan Mitchell would rather see them lose in 6.
He just doesn't. This is not the Donovan that
you're hurting right now.
Yeah, I'm in pain because I don't like. It's not. This is not the Donovan.
Off your phone, you're going to bed.
This is not the Donovan that's gonna propel them anywhere. He's playing like shit. He just doesn't want to be there. Just win Game 6 for the home, for the home crowd, and get blown out Game 7. It is what it is.
On to the last second round.
By the way, the Warriors won.
Yeah.
So we want whoever. We don't care if it's Memphis. We don't care if your boys over there in Minnesota town. We'll take whoever.
And perfect that way.
On to the last segment in the Western Conference, talking about second round matchups. Warriors just advance. They're either going to face the Timberwolves or the Grizzlies now. Before talking about this potential series matchup, I want to talk about the Grizzlies and Wolves because You know, that's a series we haven't talked about much, and it's been awesome. Now, listen. Wolves are winning in 7. It's been my prediction all along.
They should have won in 4.
You know, because
5.
yeah, they should have, because they blew game 3, historic collapse.
They blew last game too.
Last game 5, they blew that as well. Minnesota, I'm just gonna vent about them for a little bit because I think a lot of Timberwolves fans are gonna feel this grievance as well.
They might feel
this is the thing. Too. What we're looking at with Minnesota is a combination of a couple things. Every game they've lost, they've been out-rebounded offensively by 4+. We saw Game 5, Brandon Clark, he was
going crazy.
The Grizzlies had 18 offensive rebounds in Game 5 to the Timberwolves 6. Kat has mentioned it that it's not easy to get these rebounds because oftentimes he's out of position, which has led Brandon Clark to be in position. Now, look, I'll just say this. I thought the officiating down the stretch of Game 5 was some bullshit.
Yeah.
John Moran getting those foul calls, I thought was BS. I thought Pat Bev getting fouled out was BS. I kind of felt like they were obviously favoring Memphis. Minnesota should have won it. The Grizzlies have been the only team to come back from 2 20-point deficits in a series in history. That alone shows me that Minnesota should have won this series pretty easily. It should have been a 5-game series, but it wasn't. Look, I'll give credit to Memphis for not quitting, but this is more on Minnesota's inability to close out games. Whenever you see them getting to the fourth quarter, and this has been happening all season, it's not just a this series thing. This has been happening all season way too often. They settle on shots late in games. They don't have a clear-cut offense. They don't have a clear-cut go-to guy, and that's why I tweeted the other day, Minnesota will not get over the hump until they understand Anthony Edwards is the go-to guy in these situations. And even him too, sometimes he settles for shots he shouldn't settle for, but there's not enough ball movement late in these games. And Edwards mentioned it in a post-game interview where it's tough because D'Lo wants the ball, Cat wants the ball, Edwards wants the ball, and they just have to figure that out. But it's been the entire season that they haven't been able to figure out who's going to get the ball in those situations. I think right now, because of seniority, it should be Cat, but it should also be on a game-by-game basis. Game 5, Cat should have gotten the ball down the stretch. I believe so. They should have ran offense through Cat. Edwards made that fantastic 3, but he didn't have his best game in Game 5. Cat was having the better game of everybody. I think D'Lo has to step up, and it's also just like missing rotations defensively and not being all the way there. Unnecessary gambles we saw with Anthony Edwards trying to get that steal on John Morant, left Jared Vanderbilt on an island. It was going to be a lob or a layup. John Morant ended up laying it up. These are just these mistakes that are easily correctable that the Wolves have to correct. I think they win Game 6 at home, and Game 7, anything can happen, and I got the Wolves. I tweeted it. Claim your Wolves in 7 tickets now. I don't want to hear none of that nonsense. I've been having the Wolves all series long. They're going to win. They should have won in 5. They are clearly the better team. Even if Memphis wins, I will not admit, because it's not true, that they're a better team than Minnesota. Minnesota is the better team, and it's showing. They just blow these leads.
You need this
but they're
one,
a better
King.
team.
You need this one.
And on to the Golden State thing.
Oh, this should be simple.
It doesn't matter who advances. I think Memphis is a better matchup for Golden State, but Golden State will beat either team, and it won't be much of a competition.
You know, I don't even think at this point right now with the way Memphis is playing, I don't even think it'd be. I think it don't really matter the matchup.
Again.
No, I'm serious, and I'm gonna go on my little spiel. You know what I'm saying? John Morant, facts. Yeah.
I got you.
Or he's been wilding. He kept us over there for what?
For the whole episode.
This was mine.
Or
don't worry, bro.
He has one. He has his own. Why'd you give him one?
It's empty. That's why I'm like.
I just seen you drinking.
Coughing. I'm telling you, I ain't got nothing.
You can have it because I don't even need nothing. I got to piss, so I don't even want it.
Thank you.
It's just going to you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's crazy though. But I ain't gonna say nothing too much about it.
Why do you think I went over to get the water? I was thirsty.
I thought you was going.
I'll give you half, bro.
No, I'm good. I don't need none.
No, don't worry. I'll give you half.
All right.
That hit.
Just give your analysis.
Thank you. You know what? I gotta pay respect to Minnesota. You know, I got to. I can't hate no more. You know what I'm saying? John Morant, they've done as good as.
There's nothing to hate on.
Why do you just sound like Birdman?
I have no idea.
I ain't gotta hate no more.
I have no idea. They've done as good a job on John Morant as anybody as I've ever seen. You know, Ja Morant, his playmaking has been great, but he just cannot get to the rim. And shout out to Ja, he's not forcing anything.
No.
You know, he's not, if he doesn't.
In some moments, it feels that way.
For a guy who's not getting his shots, you would think he would force. But at times he's being patient. At times he's looking
facilitating,
at,
correct.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? It's not going to be my night. I can't take too many shots, unlike some other guy that we're going to get to later on tonight. But he's not taking a lot. He's being patient, so I respect that about Ja. But they have done a great job on Ja Morant, and you see why the series is close. You do a great job on Ja Morant, and then you make it a series. You know, Jaren Jackson Jr. hasn't looked like the guy we're expecting him to look like. He looks undisciplined. At times he looks low on IQ. He just looks like he's out of place. And sometimes he plays funky. Steven Adams, he virtually becomes unplayable at times because he just can't guard Cat. Like, there's just nothing he could do. Brandon Clark has been amazing in his stretches. You know, he's been solid. And Edwards, he has his moments, but he's overall been a really solid for them. D'Lo sucks. I'm sorry. This man has been ass. And I love D'Lo's game. I really do. I love D'Lo. I think everybody loves D'Lo. He's swaggy. He got the style. He's mad cool, nonchalant. Like, he cool. Everybody likes D'Lo. He's a good dude to like. God, he sucks. Like, he's just not. He's virtually, and I get what you're saying. It should be a game-by-game basis, but I don't even think it should be that. It should just be Ant and Cat. D'Lo hasn't been good. It should just be straight Ant work, a Cat work. That's pretty much it. They've been the two best guys. Pat Bev, I even think, should sometimes get a little bit over D'Lo. He's been better. And Ja Morant is a fucking cone. It's embarrassing. Like,
it's chill.
He's borderline Trae Young, and it's getting me mad. He's falling for the simple pump fake. Pat Bev keeps doing it. So, for me, like, you know what? It's tough, but I might go Minnesota in 7, bro.
Wow.
I've watched 6 games,
Wow.
5 games, pardon me, and they just look like the better team. They've literally been beating themselves with the lack of experience, the undisciplined plays, with the fact that they're not focused mentally. They haven't been focused for a 48-minute game, and that's because I don't even want to say they're young, because Cat and D'Lo aren't young, but that lack of experience in the playoffs does matter. People have to understand that. Chris Finch, he's still a young head coach. He doesn't have that experience.
Yeah,
that
calling
matters.
a timeout not calling a timeout in the 20-year run is ridiculous.
They have to understand that, and they will get it in time. Memphis is another team though that's
both
not
still young.
They're very
both
young
teams are young
but you can tell
development.
Memphis is more experienced in the sense where they know that adversity is they don't
I wouldn't
give
say
up.
experienced. They're smarter.
You know, we
part of
argued about
experience.
this in the group chat yesterday in the game. Anthony Edwards beat Ja on that late drive. Clark helped.
He did
That's
not.
why he picked up his dribble.
Ja was there with him step for step.
That layup Ja was crazy,
Bro.
That game winner.
Yeah, nah, he's nuts.
I was like, oh my god.
Edwards was about to body him right,
and
was
you know what?
bulldozing right to the basket.
Soda and 7.
Crazy. You just flipped.
You know what's funny?
flip.
You know what's funny?
And I love
is
Ja.
that-
I love Ja Morant. Everybody knows that.
But you know what you have to give their acknowledgement to, or the acknowledgement to Ja Morant, where he was struggling that
I'm
whole.
so sorry. Before I cut you off, just to quickly talk about the Warriors in the next 2.
All right, there's
it
nothing
doesn't
to say.
matter.
There's nothing to
Memphis
say.
doesn't look like the team.
And-
they doesn't look like the number 2 seed. They just look like a team that's not gonna hold up. And Minnesota's too young.
Yeah,
Warriors.
and the thing about Jaren Jackson is that he gets into his most foul trouble when a smaller lineup's on the floor.
Yeah.
Against Golden State, that's what's going to happen. So that's why
yeah.
I think it's over for Memphis
Oh my
against
God.
Golden
When
State.
they put out DEFCON
But
5?
this is the thing. This is what I wanted to say about that. About just Minnesota Memphis, is that when we gave our analysis, both previewing the series, I told you guys the key for Minnesota is keeping Memphis off the glass, offensive rebounds.
Yep.
And literally that's what's been killing them this series.
Well, like I said, Memphis is the leading rebounders in the NBA.
Okay, well, you want to know this thing about that. Steven Adams has the highest offensive rebounding percentage in the NBA. He has not been playing this
But
series.
Brandon Clark has been fantastic.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying
You
that
get Steven Adams off
the
there.
key to this series is rebounding.
Yeah.
And that Minnesota is giving Memphis so many extra possessions because they're not rebounding well. But like I agree with you, And it's funny because
Not a sure take, bro.
I told if the audience doesn't know by now, like I read all the comments. I may not respond to them, but I read them. And it's funny because the Minnesota video did pretty well and it had a lot of comments, and the Wolves in 7 video. And it's just funny when I read the comments because obviously this is not how I feel, but the passion Minnesota fans have. And I'm going to save like a more emotional speech for if they potentially lose because I love Minnesota fans. the passion these guys have and the way they've been backing me has been amazing. If you look at some of those comments,
I'll be peeping.
It's very disrespectful to you two.
I be peeping. They be violating us.
So some of them be like, "Oh, it's clear Joel's basketball knowledge is just far more
One of them was just like,
superior."
Joel, kick them both off.
It was like,
damn.
it's clear Joel is a mastermind who studies every single component of the game of basketball.
So I'm saying you need this one. You need this
that
one.
happened. You know what's crazy? That also happened with you and the Rams. It was just the same thing. Like I was reading the comments one day randomly, and they was just like, "Drew's the only guy, man. Rams Nation." It's just like it's so fun to see stuff like that.
It
man.
is fun.
Minnesota, man.
You deserve it though. This is your take, bro, and I'm riding your
like
bus.
I said,
Seven.
This is your bus.
Seven.
I'm hopping on your bus, bro.
Wolves and 7.
I apologize, Minnesota. Don't fold on me though. Don't lose, because I'm gonna get tight.
But I'll say this: I need to start off by giving John Moran his due diligence to start the game off as shaky as he did, and to come down in the stretch of the fourth quarter and score 18 points with the game winner. It just speaks volumes to John Moran and his aggression, his character, his belief in himself. Shout out to John Moran. The performance he put forth was all-time great for the first round, of course. Now, for the whole analysis of this series, I will say this. I need to give credit to Brandon Clark because he has dominated this series for the Grizzlies down low, averaging 16, 8 rebounds on 70% from the field this series. And the last game that they played, 21 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists, 64% from the field. He has been great, but let's also give credit to Desmond Bane, who I have been consistently telling you guys is the real deal. 24 points per game, 48% from the field, 47% from 3, 90% from the free throw, about 2.5 assists, and barely any turnovers. I'm looking at the Grizzlies, and you guys are pretty fair in what you guys are saying. The Wolves have folded 2 games that they should have easily locked up, and the Grizzlies have seized opportunity. I do believe that this series does go 7. This series has had 7 written all over it, given the fact of how the Wolves look to dominate. Then you have game 2, you have the Grizzlies come out and absolutely smoke the Wolves. And then you have a complete turnaround of Game 3 where the Wolves are dominating. Grizzlies come back, somehow win. Game 4, shout out to the Wolves. They had control of that game pretty much the entire way. And Game 5 again, the Wolves choking it. Game 6 is going to be in Minnesota. I think Minnesota does win that game. Game 7, I don't see the Grizzlies losing. I'm looking at John Moran, and I feel like his energy is going to be completely different for a Game 7. And I'm looking at the supporting cast of the Grizzlies as a whole. It's been well more consistent than the Wolves. It's been the Karl Anthony Towns show and Anthony Edwards. They have been tremendous.
Pat Bev has been really good.
He has been, and I will definitely give him
shout out to Zaire Williams, the rookie. He's been good in the minutes he's gotten. So shout out to him for that. Like,
okay,
getting in, being a rookie, it's tough. Playoff atmosphere. He's been good in his minutes. But yeah, Pat Bev's been a dog. I ain't gonna lie.
But you mentioned it perfectly. Steven Adams coming in, you were expecting him to be the force down low, but given the fact that Karl Anthony Towns is really making it really hard for Steven Adams to even be on the floor, for Brandon Clark to come in and step in the way that he has.
I seen it early. Game 1, it was early.
That's
he
facts.
made it very early. Like, get him off the court.
But for Brandon Clark to come in and still have the impact that he's had, it just speaks credit to him and how deep that this Memphis Grizzlies roster really is. I think the Grizzlies do take Game 7 and do move on. Now, for the Warriors and Grizzlies, as I do see it, I think the Warriors are going to win that series. I'm going to have them win in 5 games. It'll be a really good 5 games with some games leaning more towards the Warriors because the Warriors just have a crazy lineup right now. And I just got to acknowledge what's going over there in Golden State. That DEFCON 5 lineup is legit. And with Curry being as selfless as he is and coming off the bench, he started tonight, correct?
Yeah, 27. Ended the game. 6 points in 2 minutes.
Dude's a beast.
Sorry.
6 points in 2 minutes?
Jokic was going crazy, though. They was like going back and forth. Respect.
You know, and you got to give credit to Jokic. He tried his hardest.
I needed him to get 1.
Hardest.
I told you. I just needed 1.
I thought he got 2. He blew it, man. They were up 8.
I needed 1. He got the 1. I was
he
like,
didn't blow it, but
no. Of course, the Nuggets, they lost. It is what it is. They're not. They're not on their levels. Yeah, exactly.
Austin Rivers ain't going to do too much.
No, but I think the Warriors are just playing at a higher level basketball right now, and you guys mentioned it perfectly. The matchup definitely leans Grizzlies, but even still, I think the lineup that the Warriors are running and how well that they're playing, and Klay Thompson coming back and really seems like he hasn't even missed a step. He has been brilliant in this postseason so far. I'm expecting the Warriors to continue the hot streak.
On to the last segment of the podcast. We're going to talk about some of the big stars and the criticism they've been receiving, and whether or not it's fair or are they mostly false narratives and it's just getting overblown right now. So I'll start with you, Riv, because you talked about earlier in the show that you have a lot to say about Trae Young. So I'm curious to see what you got to say about Trae Young.
Let's use. I want to use 3 players: Kevin Durant, Trae Young, Zach LaVine. I want to use.
Kai's not getting involved in there.
Well, he already went on his spiel about Kyrie Irving. So I don't feel like
he handled that one pretty well.
He handled it perfectly. I don't feel like I need to say anything about that one. Kevin Durant deserves to get criticized. Kevin Durant deserves to definitely get blamed. Kevin Durant deserves to get, he deserves
the scrutiny.
He deserves the scrutiny. He definitely does. Kevin Durant is a primetime player. Kevin Durant is one of the 4 best basketball players in the world. Kevin Durant is regarded as one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen in our lives. So he definitely deserves scrutiny, not because of the fact that, well, not only just because of how he played, but because he's been on record saying that he doesn't need to be coached. They don't need to be coached. And he's been on record saying like he likes this style of basketball. And let's be realistic, like we said before, Boston ran a simple defensive scheme that Kevin Durant, being as great as he is where he is in his career now, we thought would be easily able to exploit that. He did it. So Kevin Durant deserves the blame, but in no way should we, forget who he is. We still know Kevin Durant is one of the best basketball players in the NBA, but he definitely deserves to get scrutinized. Zach LaVine is another one. I feel like being at the age where he's at, it's different for a young player if they're 20 years old, 21 years old, 19 years old, walking into their first playoff, run. It's different. You give them that leeway. But same thing I said with Devin Booker. At 26, 27 years old, you don't get that type of leeway. It's kind of like you go in, you got to show me something. And Devin Booker was one of those guys that showed me, bro, I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. I'm here. And Zach LaVine, as much as we want to call the injuries, and I'm one of the guys who I understand he's hurt, you've been playing hurt all year. So if you come into a playoff series, I expect you to come in ready to play. You haven't made an excuse all year. You decided you wanted to play. You was dealing with injury. I know. You played like garbage. You weren't good. You were pretty passive. Defensively, you were okay, but your shot wasn't there. You weren't getting to your spots, and you just weren't being that number 2 guy. If I'm going to be honest, Vooch was better than you in that series, and that's saying a lot because Vooch is really cooked. So him being better than you,
Vooch played well.
Him being better than you just kind of like looks at you funny, especially on a contract year. So, and for Trae Young, this one's a tough one because people have put this man, my fellow partner in crime to the left of me, has put this man on the pedestal where he's better than Steph.
Did he not have a better season than Steph?
Don't cut me off. Let me finish. You'll get your moment.
I'm telling you.
He's better than Steph. He's the best point guard in the NBA.
Debatable.
Okay. If he's the best point guard in the NBA, what did I say about the Joker? You got to get me one, right? And you have to play well. It's one thing for a superstar to lose to a better team. I can understand that. But you have to show me why you're considered a superstar. And Trae Young went into the series. He had 30 turnovers. 30 turnovers in 5 games. He did not play good at all. And I know people want to say this is the first time that this defense has, he's seen this defense. Okay, that's fair to say. But you can still play better. You can still, he's saying his rushing shots. I don't see it like that. I see that Miami was just being aggressive with him. Miami, he couldn't find the mismatch. He was just getting bullied throughout the court. I think Trae Young definitely deserves, some scrutiny because this year has kind of been funny for the Atlanta Hawks. Last year coming off ECF run, we expected big things. Not big things. We expected consistency. You make the playoffs. You be at least one of the good teams in the East. You go into a Miami series. I expected you to play better, and I just feel like the scrutiny definitely is deserved because not only did you play bad, you kind of play like shit. And if you're regarded as the best, Steph Curry has never had a series like that ever in his life. No matter if he was the favorite underdog against San Antonio, against Houston, he's never had a series that bad. Like that was it was worse than bad. Like that was an extremely piss poor series. He was really bad. He was not good. He was making poor decisions offensively. He was chucking shots. He was missing shots, like you said, that he usually makes, but also he was getting just locked up. And it was just like Scrooney definitely deserves to be there, but I think people just kind of like pushed it too far where he's the best point guard in the league. I think people have to kind of like wait until the playoffs because the playoffs and this is why I don't like making lists in the regular season, or I don't like switching up my stance in the regular season because a true superstar The playoffs is the separator. It's the reason why we look at LeBron differently. It's the reason why we look at Kawhi Leonard differently. It's the reason why we look at these players differently, because the playoffs is the separator for superstars. They're so close together. This is why you guys are looking at Tatum as that next step, because the playoffs is the separator. And Trae Young being as that high level, it's hard for me to – this is why it was hard for me to put him up, because I had to see it, and I seen him wet the bed.
Now, listen, I'm ecstatic with any of these outcomes because – Trae Young, I think he did have the best season for a point guard in the league this year.
Probably Luka, but
all right, yeah, I'm not going to argue.
Season and
he definitely had a better year than Ja and Steph statistically. But before the season and the offseason, we had made a bet, mister, about the Hawks being a first-round exit.
What?
The Knicks had to be involved.
It was the Knicks.
Well, I said regardless, the Hawks would lose in the first round. It was a $200 bet.
I could have sworn it was the Knicks. If I owe you $200, though, I owe you $200.
I thought the Knicks were involved.
If it,
go back and look.
It's a video on TikTok.
So
I'll
go back. Go back and look.
And
and if it's a fact, I owe you $200.
Okay.
I'm a man of my word.
Okay.
I was high on that list.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mind if you don't give me the $200. I just like the bragging rights.
No,
but if you want to give it to me, that's fine.
I'll give you $200. We're about to be rich, bro. I'll give you the $200.
So, on to what I was going to say about these false narratives. Yeah, you're definitely right. The playoffs do elevate some players, but it also is one of the biggest reasons why people overreact to things a lot. Kevin Durant, people are overreacting to it right now with how he played. Trae Young, I think a lot of it is overreaction. He's going to come back better next year. This guy just led a team to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not like...
You called it a fluke.
Okay, but it's not... I've seen him play well, though.
Yes.
Rudy Gobert, that narrative has been following him all around Utah and for the past couple of years because in the playoffs, they can't guard the perimeter and it gets blamed on Rudy. And that's why people view Rudy as a center who's not very good. Paul George, it happened with him in the bubble, and now we see what Paul George done since then. And not now, but early in the Nuggets and Warriors series, people were trash talking Nikola Jokic. So I think it leads to a lot of overreactions, and sometimes players just have off games. They have for such games there. It's just things aren't clicking. For Kevin Durant in the Boston series, help side everywhere he went. The Nets offense involves no movement. It was bound to happen. It really was bound to happen. Kevin Durant, there are some shots he should have made for sure, but what can you really do when your offense is just ISO and there's no movement on offense?
He chose that. And
Trae Young, it's a similar thing. I think we're seeing offenses that are revolved around one player not work, and it's been that way for a long time. But Trae Young, it's him on offense and nobody else. Because of that, you saw what happened when you face an elite defensive team. So I think, some of the criticism is fair for sure, but I think a lot of it gets overblown and we kind of get to the point where it's overreactionary. Like with Charles Barkley calling KD a bus rider and diminishing what he accomplished.
That's not overreactionary.
It's an overreaction when you are seen on video praising him, and he literally said word for word, that was one of the best finals performances I've ever seen.
Yeah, he did.
So if you say that, and then 3 years later, because he loses in the first round to a team, you are now taking all that away from him because of that, I think it is overreactionary.
I think that it sucks that I have to play
And Trae Young did get them one, by the way.
He did.
It was, honest to God, like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Outside of that game winner, which was amazing, he was playing like shit.
He had 2 20-point games in the series.
But he had a good...
You excited about? Did you check the efficiency? He was. Come on, let's be realistic. He played like shit for 5 straight games.
No, he didn't. Not for 5 straight.
Not 5. I'll tell you what. He played
3.5.
No, 4 and 3 quarters. He played very mediocrely 3 quarters of that game. In the fourth quarter, he played really well down the stretch.
Game 2, he had 25, 6, and 7. Game 3,
turnovers.
He had 24, 4, and 8.
What was the turnovers?
Efficiency was good though.
Which one?
Both game 2 and game 3.
How many turnovers? I'm curious.
I'll look at the turnovers. You can give.
All right, so I hate to play like the fence here, but in this specific sense, yes, there are some times where I agree with the criticism, and then there's sometimes that the narratives are definitely false. And I never will defend Kevin Durant, but for this one specifically, for any LeBron supporter like myself that
10 turnovers game 2.
Oof. That is a LeBron fan that is trying to compare the 2018 season, that postseason run against the Celtics, as to this postseason run against the Nets, with the Nets to the Celtics. Can we? I don't want to see that, because then we're really reaching. All right, and as a LeBron fan, as someone who really prides themselves as being a great fan of LeBron James, it really does kill me to have certain fans come out and make our reputation look as bad as it is, because some LeBron fans really do go over the top, and that was over the top. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't expecting Kevin Durant to play better. Game 1, right? We left that game with the idea that Kevin Durant's not going to play that bad for the rest of the series. That's his one game. Game 2 happened, and we saw Kevin Durant play similarly.
No way he'll play bad.
And there's no way that it's gonna happen a third time. Then it happens a third time where he only takes 11 shots. And game 4, shout out to him. He definitely came to play, but we were expecting him in that fourth quarter with Tatum out of the game, fouled out, and the game tied, that KD and or Kyrie would be able to close that game. Because I was told by Kyrie Irving that he finally had someone that could close games as well as he can. And there was 4 games where they could have both closed, and they did not. Game 1 specifically is another example where they were up 3 points with less than a minute, and they lost that game somehow. Now, for Trae Young's case, this one is more so on some criticism, because there were some moments where he really did look bad. He was making very poor decisions on shot selections, even facilitating the basketball. He was doing a bad job of reading defenses where he thought the help side was coming, so he's passing the ball, but then the help is dropping back, and they're able to just deflect passes.
That's man.
They were doing a great job against him, but even still, a lot of it was on Trae Young and his mental capacity for the game and how it was transpiring in front of him. I do give him a little bit of criticism for that, but I do also understand that his supporting cast right now is not suited for his style of play. They need more physical guys. They need guys that he could rely on offensively, and right now they don't have that. And against a Miami team that defensively is as great as they are on switching, it's very tough for Trae Young to really do anything when his game is predicated on dribbling past people, when you really can't do that against Miami. Now, for Zach LaVine, this to me is pretty false narrative for me personally, because he's been hurt and he's really been fighting through it, and you see it in his efficiencies. You see it how he has been a consistent over the last 2 seasons, a 50, 40, 85 ball player. And this season we saw the efficiency take a hit where he was around 45, 36.
38.
30, really, 38? Guy's a beast. But regardless of that, we still saw a regression, and not a regression, but a slight decline in his efficiency and just his aggression as a whole. He was being a little bit too passive for my liking, and you could tell that he really was not in the normal Zach LaVine body that we've seen over these last couple of seasons. And so I definitely don't like to put too much scrutiny on him for the fact that his body just was not capable to withstand being put through a series against a Milwaukee team that is just a solid unit, especially when Jrue Holiday was coming to play defense on him. It was tough to ask of him. But when you're hurt, you're hurt. And I'm not putting too much scrutiny on you if you are injured. But if you are 100% good to go and there are strong expectations on your shoulder and you don't live up to it, I'm going to criticize.
I'd be very hesitant to pay Zach LaVine. He's already tore his ACL. He's going to have another knee surgery.
Gotta pay him.
26? Yeah, I
at 26, come on, that's fine.
2 knee surgeries at 26 is crazy.
Years old. No, you're right. You're right.
That's crazy.
He's still 26 years old.
To pay him though, max money, I'd personally.
Well, he hasn't made an All NBA, so he's probably going to make.
You guys don't have a choice, but
I mean, people are looking at the maxes, but look at other players that's got the max. You know, he's not getting a super max.
Like if he gets Julius Randle's contract plus a little bit more,
he's gonna get a little bit more than that. So
and I'm not upset at that.
I wouldn't mind paying.
He's been consistent.
If it was a super max, I wouldn't pay him. I'm not gonna lie. Supermax, I'm not giving him money.
Listen,
Supermax like Rudy Gobert money. I'm not giving.
We've seen LaVine be LaVine when he's healthy. It was
but Supermax is crazy.
No, Supermax. No, let's not talk about that. He hasn't made an All NBA to earn a Supermax.
He's a max. He's gonna get the max money.
Realistically, no player deserves a Supermax. Outside of like maybe like 3-4.
Steph Curry deserves Supermax, bro.
Yeah.
James Harden in Houston deserves Supermax.
But like Curry's taking less money though.
Not
Okay,
like
I'll tell you
last
this: Jokic deserves supermax. Embiid, you said certain players, so I'm just gonna name
Embiid.
Embiid deserves it.
All right, you're right. That's fair.
Giannis without a doubt. Steph Curry without a doubt. LeBron without a doubt.
But they can't get supermax.
No, I'm just saying off the top of my head.
Well, LeBron can't.
Luka Doncic.
You have to be with a team
you're right. You
for
have
like
to be
7
the team
years.
for mad long.
Luka, Steph,
Luka,
Giannis, the Joker.
and Jokic. You said Jokic?
Yeah. Those are the four that are supermax. Like, whoa, you throw him the money, no hesitation.
Devin Booker, I would give supermax.
In order to beat what?
I would give supermax to Devin Booker.
50 mil?
I would give it to him.
I'm not getting. Devin Booker's not getting 50
I
mil
love
out of me.
D-Book, but that's crazy.
Devin Booker's not getting 50 mil out of me.
Devin Booker's one of the best scorers in the NBA.
Devin Booker's not getting. If that's the case, I'm throwing
And
50 mil at Bradley Beal.
Solid, stop it. You know it's
Devin
different.
Booker isn't getting 50 mil out of me, bro. I'm sorry.
I would give it to him.
If you're not top 10, I don't think you deserve to get.
But he is fringe top 10.
I said if you're not officially top 10, don't get 50 mil.
He could. You can make the argument he's 10.
I got him at 11. Me personally.
Okay, so come on, or again, fringe 10.
So Tatum gets the supermax for you.
Yes.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
I mean, in order to be eligible, you got to stick with a team for like 7+ years.
Tatum.
And you got to make an All NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Booker and Tatum. These guys
Booker
probably
didn't
going to
get
get it.
one
I'm just saying. Well, he's going to get one this season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that's going to do it for episode 175 of the Pick a Side podcast.
Let's acknowledge what time it is so the guys know that we grind for y'all.
It is 1:03 a.m.
1:03 in the morning. This is for y'all. We dropped this content for y'all.
You can follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. Buy our merch
Flex
on our
that.
website.
Look how cute my boy looks right now.
Pick a Side hoodie, pickaside.com, pickasidepodcast.com.
Shout out for the boys. Shout out to the boys to give me this jersey. I'm gonna put it up in the rafters, not with the Steph Curry jersey. Though, like.
and probably never wear it again.
Yeah, nah, this is not getting one.
Joe, it looks tough. It looks tough.
Nah,
Probably never
next
wear it again.
when we go, because we're gonna eventually go back to a Brooklyn game. I throw it on.
Real. That's real.
But unless he's not on the team.
I was gonna say.
So thank you for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.